over at Fox News has finally fully exposed himself and very well may have begun a career-ending move. So I'm going to get into that right in the beginning of the program today. Here we go. It's showtime.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Welcome to the program, everyone. It is Friday the 13th, which everyone's going to tell you today, but maybe I'll be the first. Friday the 13th. Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, October the 13th, and we've got a lot to cover today. And I'm going to start. Sean Hannity did something last night, which I didn't catch live because I don't watch Fox News Channel. I saw this on Twitter this morning, X. Sean Hannity did something last night on his program on Fox News Channel that very well and I'm not kidding about this. Sean Hannity did something on his program on Fox News Channel last night that very well may be the beginning of the end of his career, and I'm going to cover it here in the beginning of the program, including playing for you the moment that he began the end, Sean Hannity, in just a bit. Now, Sean Hannity, this was just bizarre. Now, I was talking to you guys yesterday about Nikki Haley and Lindsey Graham, but Nikki Haley in particular. Nikki Haley and Lindsey Graham have been talking in some of the most irresponsible ways the last few days. And both Nikki Haley, who let me tell you this, this is a bold statement, but out of everyone who's running against President Trump, she may be the most dangerous of all, which you'll find out in a minute. More than DeSanctimonious and all the others. Not that any of these losers are going to beat the greatest president ever, Donald Trump, but she's a dangerous, dangerous woman. So Nikki Haley was the focus of the Hannity segment. Nikki Haley's talking about, as is Lindsey Graham, bombing out of existence Iran in response to what is going on with the attacks on Israel. Now, we all know Iran is behind these attacks, but to take on and begin World War III, especially with what these people have done with Russia and Ukraine and all of this, this is insane. And President Trump, who's given 4 speeches this week, West Palm, New Hampshire, 2 in Iowa. You know, he says, and he's very wise, of course, President Trump. President Trump says that the reason these things are happening, the rise of Iran against Israel right now, Russia, is because Joe Biden has driven the price of oil up. When he left office, oil was about $40 a barrel. And today, it is about $100 a barrel. And President Trump said, and this is very true, that when oil was at $40 a barrel, because we were the #1 producer of oil under Donald Trump here in the United States, we have more oil than Saudi Arabia, we'd be the biggest OPEC producing nation if we were part of OPEC, that when Biden came, when oil was $40 a barrel, there's not a lot of profit in that $40 a barrel. So Russia and Iran didn't have a lot of extra money because they still got to run their country. And Joe Biden, who shut down Anwar, shut down the pipeline, slowed down drilling in this country, et cetera, for his handlers in the CCP, it drove oil up to the prices of about $100 a barrel. So they've got all kinds of money, and they're doing all kinds of evil doing with it. So President Trump's plan to stop Iran and what they're doing and stop Putin with what he's doing is to start producing American oil like we were before and bring down the price of oil so that they go broke and have no money. But Nikki Haley and Lindsey Graham are talking about, oh no, the solution is to carpet bomb, which is stupid and irresponsible and insane. Now, I'm no fan of Vivek Ramaswamy with his Soros connections and all this stuff. But he has been out there calling out Nikki Haley for being part of the military-industrial complex. That's right. And, you know, I've told you guys for years that when you watch cable news and you see a retired lieutenant general, a retired lieutenant colonel, a retired out-of-work politician like Nikki Haley, do not trust any of their analysis. Do not believe anything they say. Most of them have jobs with the military-industrial complex, or they've got boatloads of stock. But many of them actually work for them as a lobbyist, as a consultant. What's a consultant? That's like a fake job, right? And they go on cable news promoting war because they're part of the military-industrial complex. And remember what President Eisenhower said in his farewell speech: beware the military-industrial complex. You know, Eisenhower said that this did not happen until after Korea, he said in that speech. President Eisenhower said that we have never in America, prior to the Korean War, had an entire industry based on the necessity of war as a product. And we can't allow them to push around our country and take it over. Well, here we are. We had a 20-decade war in Afghanistan. The war went on so long that there were men and women in combat that were born after 9/11. Think about that. America's longest war. That war ends, and like 2 days later, they start this war with Russia and Ukraine, because the military-industrial complex controls so many of our politicians, like Nikki Haley. Now, Sean Hannity, I'm going to play you the exchange when we get back from our first break. I don't have time to start it now without interrupting, and I don't want to interrupt this. So Vivek Ramaswamy, who's a bad dude, but that, you know, hey, listen, broken clock, has been calling out Nikki Haley because he's running against her, and her connections to the military-industrial complex. And Sean Hannity, who has all these pins all over his lapel, I don't know, what is that about? It's kind of like a conservative version of virtue signaling. Like you go to the Hollywood red carpet and they have all those ribbons all over them representing everything. We don't know what they're for. So Sean Hannity brings on Vivek Ramaswamy so that Sean Hannity can not only defend Nikki Haley, try to dress down Ramaswamy, but defend all of these sellout military-industrial complex people that parade themselves on television as experts and run and sometimes get elected to office. And it is sick what Hannity said. And what Hannity said in particular at the end of the audio that I'm going to play for you after this break was the most revealing thing we've ever seen about Sean Hannity. Now, I understand that he left his wife that was with him when he was poor, and he's probably got a lot of alimony. And he's got that young blonde living with him and everything, and she's got a high and mighty lifestyle too. I understand that, but this is the beginning of the end for Sean Hannity. We'll take our break, and I'll play the entire Hannity exchange that I'm referencing with Vivek Ramaswamy. But first, we'll take our break. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 46 years on the radio. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines.
This is insane. Yeah, peace to warmongers. I couldn't believe this.
This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Brian Craig here with a question for seniors and those who care about them.
Any of you guys see this exchange? I'm going to play it when we get back. This is crazy. This is freaking insane. By the way, if you have not done it, go to JupiterJoe.com and get Joe Thomas's book for free, The Retirement Know-It-All. If you are already retired or you plan on retiring at some point in your future, like you could be retiring today or in 20 years, go to his website, JupiterJoe.com. Get a copy of this free book. Let Joe Thomas know you support the show. And you can also get a free consultation with Joe Thomas. He's a financial advisor, and he's offering free consultations and his book for free. No matter where you are in America, give him a call, 561-743-0999, 561-743-0999, and schedule your free phone consultation with financial advisor Joe Thomas, guys, okay? And, of course, when you do that, you're supporting all of my content, which is very, very much appreciated. Yeah, we'll be around in 20 years. I plan on being around in 20 years, just I'll be 20 years older. I mean, Sean Hannity, Sean Hannity, and I'll explain this on the air, but I'll tell you guys after I play the exchange. He was told by the military-industrial complex handlers to bring Ramaswamy on and dress him down because the things he said are so weird. It was like a script, and during the whole thing, there's a lady in the background that you can't make out what she's saying, but she's talking to Hannity, and Hannity looks over to her a couple times.
Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen to the Long Beach on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, Harrison Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All right, welcome back. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. By the way, it is Friday, which means that it is open phones on the program. We call it Open Maga Mike Friday. And on Open Maga Mike Friday, you are welcome to call in about anything you have on your mind. You are not limited to the topics that we bring up. Although I do want to hear your thoughts on this bit I'm going to play with Sean Hannity. Let me do a quick recap, and then I'm going to play the audio for those that are just tuning in. Okay, so Nikki Haley, because that's what this is about, Nikki Haley has been calling for the bombing of Iran in response to the Iranian attacks on Israel. President Trump's plan is to bring down the price of oil by $60 a barrel to where it was when he left office in his first term, and Iran will have no money. So Vivek Ramaswamy, who again, I am no fan of Ramaswamy with his Soros background and all that, but Ramaswamy has been calling out Nikki Haley on his campaign trail for his losing campaign and calling her a hack of the military-industrial complex. And Sean Hannity, when I play this clip, I'm going to play it uninterrupted. And I'm going to comment before and then after, but the first time I play it here, I'm going to play it uninterrupted. And I just want to tell you a couple things about it and one thing to listen out for. And then I want to hear your thoughts on Hannity and this exchange at 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Hannity, as you hear this bizarre exchange, and especially at the end when it gets really, it says some really weird stuff, Hannity was ordered by his deep state military-industrial complex handlers to bring Ramaswamy on and dress him down for questioning Nikki Haley's wanting to carpet bomb Iran. And throughout this exchange, there's a woman faintly heard in the background. And I couldn't make out what she was saying. I heard her say Vivek once or twice. And when I was watching this, I couldn't figure out at first who she was with. Was it Ramaswamy or Hannity? And then as it goes on, you see Hannity looking over to her. Even though you don't see her as she's talking to him off camera, she's giving Hannity instructions. It seems to me during the interview, who is this lady? Is this normal for Hannity? It's almost like a hostage video. So let me play. I'm going to play it uninterrupted, and it's longer than my normal sound bites. But this is unbelievable. Hannity with Ramaswamy last night on his show. Here we go.
Why would you accuse Nikki Haley of being corrupt?
I don't believe that somebody should be able to be the next commander-in-chief
if they have monetized their time in government, going from being in debt to making $8 million through military contracting businesses, through service on the board of Boeing. Frankly, it is shameful for somebody to be collecting stock options from corporate boards while they're running for U.S. president. We already have one family in the White House, okay, who I believe has sold off our foreign policy to advance their private interests. The Republican Party needs to be better than that. Needs to be a party where if your campaign is principally being run by super PACs, people who can give unlimited amounts of money to your campaign, I don't think that befits the Republican Party. I think we need to be better than that. So I may have a different view on that, but my view is if you're making money off your time in government, then I don't think you're fit to be president of the United States. Well, more importantly, though, what's our policy? Stand with our allies while avoiding World War III, and that's where I'm at.
A lot of people don't think you're qualified because you weren't even a Republican or voting Republican until what, 2020?
Well, Sean, I think
That's right, she said.
objectives with this interview are. I voted Libertarian in my first election. I voted Republican in 2020. You're right. I'm not a partisan hack. I come in from the outside.
Forgive you for your screw
I'm an independent-minded patriot who speaks.
It sounds to me like you just want to jump from the private sector yourself, where you made a lot of money. By the way, I applaud capitalism. I applaud successful people.
Sean, I applaud you for being so transparent about your objectives.
People working in the defense of our country and the defense industry are playing a vital role for the cause of freedom. So I don't really call it a corrupting influence or suggest that somehow that's a corrupting influence. I actually like the experience that goes along with what you do as actually defense contractors. But I've got to listen.
One of the things I loved about that interview with Tucker, was we were actually able to have a thoughtful conversation and go deep into issues rather than this kind of political gotcha.
The point is this: you go on these interviews. Yeah, I have nothing but nice things to say. But here's your problem: you go on these shows, people quote your exact words, and you deny your own words. And I'm saying if you're going to be a presidential candidate, and you're going to spend, I'm going to give you your exact words. Either own it,
Sean, you have been sitting here for years talking about the fake news media.
You played this all the time.
I'm enjoying this. You have been laughing about the fake news media how many times for the last several years, and now you're buying the mainstream media narrative when you know how corrupt it is.
I am following you. I am quoting your exact words. Did I not quote your exact words? Did I or did I not quote your exact words? Did I quote your exact words?
Armenia, absolutely.
Listen to the end.
Thank you.
About Azerbaijan, yes, you did.
Time to go.
About a different topic, Azerbaijan, where people should actually get their own information rather than filter through centralized media.
I think it's asinine to think somebody that worked in the defense industry should not be qualified to be president. I think people that never held public office, like you, they're not qualified to be president.
Oh, really? Wow. So the end part. Let me play that end part.
You should their own information rather than filter through centralized media.
I think it's asinine to think somebody that worked in the defense industry should not be qualified to be president. I think people that never held public office, like you, they're not qualified to be president.
Oh, my goodness. So Hannity, he's advocating for the military-industrial complex people to hold office. What that was and by the way, you guys heard the lady in the background talking to Hannity? Who is that lady? And is that normal for his show? And then he says people that haven't worked in the military-industrial complex, he believes, aren't qualified. Does that include Donald Trump, Hannity? And by the way, where did you serve? You and I served in the same unit for the same amount of time. It's called the microphone unit. Oh, my goodness. That's insane. Insane. That was an infomercial message for the military-industrial complex by Hannity. And, listen, I do endorsements for all kinds of businesses. You hear me? Do the commercials. It's obvious. Oh, my goodness. That was a secret endorsement. And it also sounded like, to me, now I'll throw this out to you guys. It sounded to me that Ramaswamy has scared the military-industrial complex and has outed Nikki Haley and maybe some others they're worried about, and they ordered Hannity to bring him on to dress him down, and he ended up exposing himself. Wow. A deep state hack. A military-industrial complex hack. If you're doing spots for the military-industrial complex, just do it. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Cynthia.
Cynthia, wow. I mean, Hannity, that's something.
Oh, I'm shocked. I'm just shocked. Well, I'm not shocked. I turned off that boob tube 8 years ago. I had enough. Fox and frauds have been lying to us.
Yeah, but you know what? Millions have not. And Nikki Haley is all over media, Cynthia, trying to get us in war with Iran. And Sean Hannity's trying to protect her so that she can bring us into... All these wars are fake wars.
Yes, they got orders from the military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
Back and look up Sean's interviews with the Bushes, slobbering all over them, and Dick Cheney and all of that. You know, 9/11 was a horrible thing, but when you go back and look at the Saudi Arabia and all the things that they were saying, these people don't care about us. They care about their pocketbook, and they love war. And that's what's going on here. And Eisenhower was right. Beware of the military-industrial complex.
Well, the military-industrial complex is on Fox News Channel at 9 p.m. Eastern, and it's Sean Hannity. The show. I mean, that was one of the most revealing moments of any anchor on any mainstream national program ever. That was insane. That was insane.
What? I'm surprised he's not pushing for the, for all of the others that are so, all the other congressmen now and senators who have been war. I mean, Josh Haley is saying they're waking up a little bit. But others are not. I mean, look at Lindsey Graham, what he put out there. It's really
Well, Lindsey Graham works for him, too. They all, listen, Nikki Haley, Ramaswamy, she was in debt. Now she's worth $8 million after working for the military-industrial complex. You know, Lindsey Graham's still in government, but one day he won't be, so he's got to, keep his feelers out so he can have that job when he's out of the Senate.
You know why Trump is, says when he goes to South Carolina and the crowd boos when he mentions Lindsey. I believe all of that is, and because I get on conference calls a lot and we're working together around the country, I hear from the South Carolina people. Lindsey runs the show in South Carolina. He has all the money. So you can't be a candidate there. People try to run against him. They never win. So that is kind of why I think that the governor probably said something to Trump to back off on Lindsey. And unless there's another play that we're not aware of.
That's right.
I'll tell you, Marie Bartiromo, who I'm not sure of her. I'll just throw it out there. She belongs to the Council of Foreign Relations.
Oh, yes.
Go to the Council of Foreign Relations and look up the list of who belongs to that organization. These are evildoers who really honestly want war. And you know what? We're facing a melt.
Yeah, and notice none of them will be in the war.
Absolutely. And I would say today is an important day. Scalise backed out. Jim Jordan is still up there, but you know what? I still want President Trump to.
Me too.
100 days.
Me too. All right, I got to run, Cynthia. But thank you for the call, Cynthia from Martin County. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again.
I think you're gonna really love it.
Oh my goodness! I mean, Hannity. That was one of the most revealing moments ever from one of these hacks in an anchor chair. I mean, he really exposed himself. I'm glad he did, but it really shows you how scared they are. Oh my goodness. Now, guys, I was telling you yesterday, Mike Lindell personally emailed me earlier this week asking me to do an extra big push on My Pillow products with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. He's up against it financially. You know, he had to let his lawyers go because he doesn't have the money to pay them, kicked out of all the stores. He's being audited, raided by the FBI, all this stuff. And he's put together what I'm calling the specials. The specials. If you go to mypillow.com and click on the radio listener section, there's extra specials that Mike Lindell updated so I could share them with you. Now remember, you use my promo code Kane to take advantage of all those deals, and he sent me a couple of things to share. One is the special for Christmas on the My Pillow slippers, originally $139.98. They are $100 off right now. All sizes, all colors, a bunch of new sizes in, new colors in. They're $100 off for $39.98. And he said this will be for a very limited time because he'll start to run out of sizes. So those MyPillow slippers, just a great deal. You can go to mypillow.com, click on that radio section, and you'll see that. By the way, you could use my promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, for all the specials there. So support Mike Lindell, support all my content. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879, or go to mypillow.com and use the promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. Yes. When I endorse a product, I proudly tell you about it. I endorse people, companies, and businesses that offer good services and products that I use. Unlike Hannity, who's got a secret military industrial complex infomercial going on. Insanity. Insanity Hannity. I really do believe if enough people like me pick up on that, he'll be on his way out. Be on his way out. Is it normal for him to have his handler back there yelling at him like that, that lady, Hannity? I've never seen anything like that. Yeah, if you're on hold, I'm going to go to the phones when we get back. I haven't watched Hannity in years. Years and years and years. And he's talking about how honorable military-industrial complex people are. Are you kidding me? Freaking lunatic. We're coming back shortly, guys. Sean Hannity exposed.
This is John from Lighthouse Medical Center, CFO and Director of Neuropathy. We want to welcome you to Lighthouse Medical Center this year. It's our 75th anniversary. We've been able to help a lot of patients. We want to be able to help you with your neuropathy issues as well. If you have numbness, burning, pain, tingling, lack of sleep, balance issues, please come see us and let us help you with that problem. There's hope.
Really? Well, that's, hey, better late than never, Michelle.
Lighthouse Medical Center, being able to see quality improved in their life and being able to help them and their family has been a blessing to us and a blessing to them, and we look forward to doing that for the next 75 years. We don't just treat neuropathy at Lighthouse Medical Center. We have a specialized knee pain program with non-surgical solutions for bone-on-bone.
Well, then keep listening to this show, Michelle. You'll learn a lot here, I promise you.
Hip and shoulder pain. Call for a free consultation with us today. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642.
All right, we'll be back in 30 seconds.
Back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 46 years.
All right, we are back. If you're just tuning in, you've missed a lot, but I will recap all that later. But I'm going to take a call or two at 1-888-GO-CANE-1. Now, again, it is open phones on Friday, open Maga Mike Friday. Any and everything you have on your mind is fair game, but I would like to hear your response to Sean Hannity embarrassing and exposing himself as a deep state hack. I mean, I can't believe they burned him. They burned. You know what happened to him? Last night, Hannity did to himself what the deep state put him up to. He burned himself like the deep state put Ron DeSantis up to running against Trump. We got to think of a word. He desensitized himself. Is that one good? Because he's got the Hannitized thing. Sean Hannity was desensitized last night by the same people that destroyed Ron DeSantis' future in politics. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You know, you're right. He desanitized himself. You know?
Yes.
That's the thing. And the mask is off. At one point, I actually thought he was for Trump. He was a Trump ally, right? He was Trump and all that stuff.
Well, now Hannity says that, I'm going to play the end of this. Hannity is saying here that President Trump is not qualified to be president. Listen.
Different topic, Azerbaijan, where people should actually get their own information rather than filter through centralized media.
I think it's asinine to think somebody that worked in the defense industry should not be qualified to be president. I think people that never held public office, like you, they're not qualified to be president.
Wow, that means that Trump wasn't qualified to be president first time around? What does that mean, Sean Hannity?
Well, was Obama qualified to be president?
Well, he held public office. He said public office. And by the way, Mike, thanks for the call. And this whole idea of honoring people that serve in the military industrial, that's not public service. That's like winning the Powerball lottery. You know, the pundits, the thing about pundits began with the cable news cycle. And you know how this is how cable news with low ratings, how do they survive financially? Because when they bring on pundits, the pundits are hawking something, war machines or something else. But listen, Sean Hannity, who to me looked scared. He looked very frightened during that segment because they made him do something, and I don't think he was comfortable with outing himself. Well, I certainly hope that other people like me pick up on this. Now, today's show is a little difficult for me. I'm going through right now caffeine withdrawals. And I'm going through severe caffeine withdrawals right now as I'm speaking with you. It doesn't sound like it to you, I know, but I've got a headache coming on. My eyes feel kind of funny, and I'm a little foggy. The reason is I saw a story this morning that changed my morning routine today. So you're going to have to bear with me, okay? Now, I am addicted to Starbucks espresso in the morning like Hunter is addicted to crack and hookers, okay? And I've been drinking coffee since I graduated high school and started working full time, but the hours that I put in early morning hours, and I need the espresso to get me going in the morning, like to be alert enough to do a program. And what I get at Starbucks is the Venti Hot Blonde Americano, and it's just addicting. I'm addicted to it. I need it, and I have 2 of them a day, which is like 8 shots of espresso. And I've tried many other things, and nothing does it. I can't drink soda, do sugar crashes, being up and alert at these early hours of the morning is not, and broadcasting filled with energy is not an easy thing to do, because many hours of preparation go into the show before I get here and everything else. But I didn't get my normal Starbucks on the way in. I'm drinking 7-Eleven coffee. Now, 7-Eleven coffee tastes real good. I like 7-Eleven coffee, and I like 7-Eleven, especially the big gulps. There's a new 7-Eleven opening up by my house. I can't wait. I'll be a regular. But the 7-Eleven coffee does not have anywhere near the amount of caffeine that I normally would have in the morning. Nowhere near it. Tastes good, but not enough caffeine. I've tried the Dunkin' Donuts equivalent. It's not enough caffeine. And by the way, the Dunkin' Donuts cost more money than the Starbucks, if you can believe it. So anyway, why am I whining about my coffee caffeine withdrawals this morning? I've tried the Wawa too. The Wawa, the last time I tried the Wawa to replace Starbucks a while back, and that was a rough weekend. I mean, I was like really going cold turkey. I was like Gene Hackman in the French Connection 2 when they got to him and they got him hooked, and then they had to get it was awful. So anyway, why am I whining about this? Because listen to this. The Starbucks Workers Union, I made a YouTube video about this, by the way, in front of a Starbucks this morning on my way in. The Starbucks Workers Union, which represents 9,000 baristas, has released a statement of solidarity with Hamas and condemning Israel. That's right. Listen to this. The Starbucks Union, which of course is supported by AOC, Bernie Sanders, and others, has been condemned for posting on social media solidarity with Palestine. Starbucks Workers United. There's a difference between coffee tasting good. I don't drink coffee for the taste. I drink coffee for the high dose of caffeine, okay? I got one of those Nespresso machines that cost a lot of freaking money, and the pods for the Nespresso were like so much money, and I drink the equivalent, it's like $20 a cup if I do the Nespresso. Believe me, I've tried everything for years. Starbucks Workers United, an affiliate of the Service Employees International Union, which is SEIU, which is what put Obama in office. You know, the SEIU, their endorsement of Obama in his run against Hillary is what cost her the nomination. In fact, Bill Clinton went to the SEIU convention in Vegas begging them to support and endorse Hillary instead of Obama, and they wouldn't do it. Starbucks Workers United, an affiliate of the SEIU union, which represents 9,000 baristas, has now deleted the post, but not before it was spotted by the Washington Free Beacon. Okay? This is amazing. This is amazing. Starbucks management also spoke out on this. Starbucks management criticized the union's remarks, saying they do not represent the company's views. Starbucks released this statement. To be clear, we unequivocally condemn these acts of terrorism, hate, and violence, and disagree with the statements and views expressed by Workers United and its members. Workers United words and actions belong to them and them alone, the company said in a statement. The Seattle-based Starbucks said it wanted to express their deepest sympathy for those who have been killed, wounded, displaced, and impacted following the heinous and unacceptable acts of terror, escalating violence and hate against the innocent in Israel and Gaza this week. Well, and Gaza, Starbucks, are you showing solidarity too? Gaza, those are not the victims, those are the aggressors, okay? Starbucks needs to get, I don't know, they're up in Seattle, but other than drinking coffee, they probably smoke weed a lot. Gaza's not a victim here, Starbucks. The Starbucks statement goes on, furthermore, we are deeply troubled by the spread of misinformation, inaccurate headlines, and third-party social media posts stemming from statements made by Workers United. Starbucks continues, Workers United, its local affiliates, union organizers, and those who identify as members of Starbucks Workers United do not speak for Starbucks Coffee Company and do not represent the company's views, positions, or beliefs. The CEO of Starbucks urged tolerance, asking for workers to support one another with empathy and understanding. I'm sorry, I don't show empathy or understanding for the opinions of Nazis, okay? If someone I know or work with or am associated with are showing sympathy for Nazis, I'm out. I don't respect the opinions of Nazis and those who support them. I'll tell you a quick thing, and then I'll break. And I've cut people off many times over their poison rhetoric. My wife and I had a very good friend. Her daughter was 16 years old and got pregnant. She took her to get an abortion in the 5th month. And this woman was rich. She had a big lawsuit settlement. And she was worth millions of dollars. She was a millionaire. And her teenage daughter was 16. She took her in the 5th month to get an abortion. The 5th month, a millionairess. And then she called my wife and told her about it like it was something to gossip about. I was physically ill, 5th month. We never talked to her again. Sadly, she's no longer with us. Hopefully, she found forgiveness for that. But no, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. The Starbucks needs to step up against these Nazi union people and cut off all ties with them. And anyone who is sympathetic to Nazis or advocates for Nazis is done and out. And the Starbucks statement is worse. But you know what? This is not over, because if you notice, for the first time, people are standing up against these anti-Semites at the colleges and in the corporate world and elsewhere. But look at Tlaib. She's underground now. She's never going to recover from her refusal to condemn the beheadings of the 40 babies. So Starbucks, I know it's out in Seattle. It's only about 3:45 in the morning. They better get up, have some of their overpriced coffee, and cut off all connections with this Nazi supporter union that they're doing business with, and stop telling their employees to work alongside and have tolerance towards the opinions of Nazis. My goodness. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our last break of the first hour and be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning.
This is crazy.
Right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Crazy.
Get ready for an extraordinary night with the multi-talented Sean Cassidy at Amaturo Theater on November 27th. From his chart-topping hits to his acclaimed TV series like American Gothic, Sean Cassidy has captivated audiences worldwide. Witness his magic on stage, featuring
Their statement is beyond weak.
Sean Cassidy live November 27th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
The leader of the Hamas group
Yeah.
calling for a whole national jihad.
Yeah, international. Yeah, worldwide jihad.
You see what France did in response to it?
What's that?
They said that if they see any pro-Palestinian things or anything
Yeah.
like that, they will deport them back.
Oh, wow.
So they're saying don't even try.
I'll believe that when I see it. They got the heads cut off of the. Remember, you probably don't. I don't know if you remember, but those French.
Right?
Yeah, those French reporters. Yeah, they killed them all.
I remember. Weirdly enough, I think I did because you're going around the school and all the kids.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at this, look at this.
The Hebdo. What was that called? That page, Charlie Hebdo or something like that was the name of that.
At least right now, that's what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
My friend, he's a police officer in North Palm Beach. I just told him, I said, hey, if anything is going on, let me know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but I'm really going through the Starbucks withdrawals this morning. Holy smokes! And usually when this is Starbucks, it'll last me the whole show, and I'll go home and have half of it. And I've had 3/4 of it already. So I'm going through some major withdrawals here. All right, we're coming back.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is...
All right. So if anyone knows a local place where I can get Starbucks caffeine level coffee early in the mornings, let me know. It's not Wawa. It's not 7-Eleven. And that Dunkin' Donuts version of it is more expensive, and the taste, it tastes like awful. All right, now, listen, if you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to go to the phone shortly. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631, a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. Now, I was telling you guys earlier this week, I got an email from Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell's going through a lot of problems. He had to let his lawyers go and all these lawsuits because he's broke. Kicked out of the stores, the big box stores like Walmart and Kohl's and all the others. American Express cut his credit limit down, so he can't use American Express anymore. I mean, raided by the FBI. They seized his phone that he does all his business over. And Mike Lindell has updated some specials and asked me to do an extra promotion for him for the time being because they need your help. And with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, you can stand with Mike Lindell and support him and support our radio station at the same time, you guys. Our promo code, of course, is KANE, KANE, at checkout at mypillow.com. And you can take advantage of all the specials there, not just the ones I highlight, okay? But Mike gave me 2 that he wanted me to tell you all especially about. Now, when you go to mypillow.com, click on that radio section, and you'll see this special. The MyPillow My Slippers, which I have and Steve Kane have, they're amazing. The normal price is $139.98. Right now, they are $100 off. $100 off, but for a very limited time, Mike Lindell told me, because they're going to start running out of sizes, just $39.98. Just $39.98. That's a great deal. So go to mypillow.com. They make a great gift for Christmas for anyone on your gift-giving list. Who doesn't love beautiful slippers from MyPillow? You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, KANE. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Michelle Jensen from Salem, Oregon.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I'm talking about the military-industrial complex. Yesterday was the first time I ever heard about it. And with Lindsey Graham, he did mention about car bombing, and it was like, oh my God, we're going to start another war. I don't want our country back into another war. I really don't. Oh my gosh.
No.
And then, yeah, I really don't. But we've been in too many. We just need to stop.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not about losing my mind.
Well, you heard of the military-industrial complex for the first time yesterday. How long have you been following and listening to me?
Since last year.
Last year? Well, I guess it hasn't come up for a while. Well, keep listening. You'll learn all kinds of stuff. And Sean Hannity outing himself as a spokesperson for the military-industrial complex and talking about how honorable they are, and military-industrial complex people should serve in office like the presidency is sick.
Well, I know President Trump doesn't do things like that. I love my president.
No, he makes money renting hotel rooms and building beautiful buildings and stuff like this. He's not some hack that works for the war machine.
No. That's what makes President Trump so good. That's what makes him so good. Oh, I'm so blessed that I finally got a president that I am so proud of.
Oh yeah.
I miss it.
Have you ever been to a rally?
No, and I want to know how I could get to his rally.
Well, next time. Well, you're in Oregon. Whenever I don't know if they're going to be. Did you say you're from Oregon?
I am.
I don't imagine. Well, there'll be any Trump rallies in Oregon. So you're gonna. But you know what though? Every MAGA person, it's kind of like a pilgrimage. You got to go to at least one Trump rally. I've been to more rallies and speeches than I can remember, but you most definitely should try to go to one.
Do they have tickets?
Well, sometimes most of them are free. You know, I've gone to free and paid events. So if you ever hear like about a big rally, even though they say tickets, they're typically free. You know, so yeah, go to one. Yeah, you'll love it, and you'll find a group of people that agree with you and a bond. It's a great community.
Thank you, Brian, so much.
All right, well, it's good to hear from you, and welcome to the show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Ben from Pamela.
Hey, Ben.
Yeah, so two things. I wanted to touch on Sean Hannity being a complete hack, but also go into the anti-Semitism of the left. But as far as Sean Hannity goes, I mean, like, what a moronic statement. The thing about Sean Hannity is he's a creature that's not built for these times. Yeah, his shtick might have worked back in the early 2000s when that movement, that neocon movement was in full swing. But for him to say that you have to go through, like, the regime machine that's just going to churn out people that think like him and act like him. Like, most of our framers, weren't they like farmers before they became president or took, positions? For him to, like, he pretty much wants people to go through a system that grooms them to think like him, so therefore we can always have leaders.
Well, he's doing what he did is he outed himself that his program and his opinions are an infomercial for the military war machine. And I'm not opposed to people endorsing products and companies and businesses and services. That's what I do for a living, you know. But and you hear me, and I endorse people and products and companies that I use and I respect, and I know the people and I meet with them and everything else. You know, I don't, everyone you ever hear me talk about, I talk about them and meet with them and use them before our latest is Joe Thomas, the financial expert. Before I started telling you guys about Joe Thomas, I met with him and his daughter who works for him here at the radio station. When I got off the air, we met, we had a meet, we got to know each other, we talked and everything else. That's how it is. You know, when I'm endorsing someone, my agenda on the program, the topics I bring up are not hidden commercials like Hannity, who says that people that work for the military-industrial complex are qualified to hold public office after they've done that. That's crazy.
And can you imagine some, like Lloyd Austin or General Milley, like these people being leaders? If anything, the Biden administration has shown us how much more sickening that the people who are churned out by this system would be to be our leaders. So, especially now, how many men in dresses does the Biden administration have in their military operations? You have the Levine guy over at the health. You have who was that guy who was wearing the dog face, so it just speaks volumes. Hannah doesn't know what he's talking about anymore. But I also want to say that, the anti-Semitism that the left has shown over the last week, I mean, I don't understand how they would ever be able to call anyone a Nazi ever again. I haven't seen one white supremacist Nazi rally. I've seen multiple rallies composed of thousands of people made up of pro-Palestinian youth leftists and the Democratic base. Yeah, could you imagine if there were people marching down the street, with swastikas?
No, you're at, these people that are at the, I have this clip. I'm just going to play a bit of it because I'm almost out of time for the hour. But this is a girl at a college, and she's a Jewish girl, and the Palestinian protesters are at her school. Listen. Hold on, I got to turn up the volume. Hold on, let me turn this up. I shouldn't have done this up against the break, but Oh boy, live radio, people, live radio. Hopefully, I'll have time to play it. Here we go.
Can you absolutely rule out?
Oh no, that's the wrong clip. See, I'm all messed. See, it's because you know why? Because I haven't had the Starbucks. Yeah, it's because I haven't had the coffee. Here it is. Hold on.
Alone! They want our people dead! They want us killed!
Yeah, and she's really crying. See, this is what happens without that Starbucks coffee from those Nazi baristas. Hey, listen, I got to run. We'll be right back with the next hour after this.
WIRK HD3 Indiantown. Programming paid for by
Okay. I told you I was going through coffee withdrawals. I told you guys. I can't even hit the right buttons. And that's what happens.
For the Steve Kane Show. From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created. Here's the oldies forecast.
Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you're off.
Oh.
So we're going to see daytime highs today into the lower 90s, pressing almost record heat. Lower to mid 90s, very humid out there, and a chance of some afternoon strong storms. I'm WPBF 25 First Warning meteorologist Sandra Shaw. Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach. Palm Beach Patio Furniture.
Oh, yeah. Vivek got Tucker out there, too. That was incredible. That was incredible.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
West Palm Beach, we have a multi-vehicle crash on Military Trail at Westgate Avenue. Starting to see those usual buildups right now on 95 northbound from Deerfield Beach to Boca. This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's West Falls is a perfect time for outdoor projects. Right now, you can keep your living needs best and save. Take care of leaves with Live Over starting at just $89.98. Lowe's knows home improvement. Wall supplies.
Look to support the states. Our responsibility is to the stability and the security of the region. That means being able to support, not support, yes.
AOC, she's so irrelevant. Mm. We'll be back shortly, guys. Mm-hmm.
This states our responsibility is to the stability and the security of the region. That means being able to support, not support, yes, Israel in its defensive capacities, right, in its ability, in that context. But it also means that the United States has a responsibility to ensure accountability to human rights, to prevent the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, and to ensure that horrors do not happen in the names of victims who do not want their tragedy used to justify further violence.
Oh. I got to recap the Hannity thing because that's, to me, is just freaking insane. I'm glad he did it.
On the air
Here we go.
since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with
All right, welcome back. See, I told you guys, the caffeine withdrawal, it's hit me pretty hard, and we're only a third of the way through, and then I got a whole day ahead. Oh my goodness. It's gonna be... Okay, guys, so I know, this is insanity, people. It's insanity. Okay, let me recap what I would consider to be my top story today, which is Sean Hannity destroying himself. Sean Hannity did on his program last night what Ron DeSantis did to his political career. Okay, destroyed it. And just to do a recap, and I'm going to play the audio, because this is an important story. Last night, Sean Hannity blew his entire cover on his show. Now, this week, Nikki Haley has been talking about carpet bombing, as has Lindsey Graham, Iran. They want us to get into a war with Iran. Donald Trump says we'll just break them financially, we'll produce a lot of oil in America again, bring the oil prices down to less than half of what they currently are a barrel, and Iran and Russia will have no money. Nikki Haley's response is no. She wants to bomb it. And Vivek Ramaswamy has been attacking, rightly so, and calling out, because they're running against each other in their sad attempt to get the Republican nomination. But Vivek Ramaswamy has been calling Nikki Haley out this week that she is a profiteer from the military-industrial complex. Hannity brings Ramaswamy on last night to dress him down and ends up exposing himself, Hannity. Now, when I play this, also there's a lady who's talking to Hannity throughout. Those of you that watch Hannity over the years, is the lady normally talking to him this way? Who is she? Is she his handler? What's going on here? So if you're on hold, hang in there. I want to play this. This is Hannity last night, Ron DeSantizing himself with Vivek Ramaswamy doing an infomercial for the military-industrial complex. Listen.
Why would you accuse Nikki Haley of being corrupt?
I don't believe that somebody should be able to be the next commander-in-chief if they have monetized their time in government, going from being in debt to making $8 million through military contracting businesses, through service on the board of Boeing. Frankly, it is shameful for somebody to be collecting stock options from corporate boards while they're running for U.S. president.
Now, do you guys agree with that? Yeah, because remember when G.W. Bush was running and the NRA president said, when Bush becomes president, we're going to have a desk right next to the Oval Office, and people are like, oh my goodness. Hannity wants people that are profiting and employed by the military-industrial complex to not just hold office, but be the president, so they can drum up more business.
We already have one family in the White House, okay, who I believe has sold off our foreign policy to advance their private interests. The Republican Party needs to be better than that. Needs to be a party where if your campaign is principally being run by super PACs, people who can give unlimited amounts of money to your campaign, I don't think that befits the Republican Party. I think we need to be better than that. So Sean, you and I may have a different view on that. But my view is, if you're making money off your time in government, then I don't think you're fit to be president of the United States. Well, more importantly, though, what's our policy? Stand with our allies while avoiding World War III, and that's where I'm at.
Well, a lot of people don't think you're qualified because you weren't even a Republican or voting Republican until what, 2020?
Well, now, by the way, Sean Hannity is not a Republican. Did you guys know this? He is not a Republican. He is a registered conservative. So why is he voicing opinions if that's a standard, Hannity? Okay, now that's right, that was not somebody cheering me on in the background. That was this woman inside the studio with Hannity cheering him on. And so let me just play his comment again, and then you'll hear the woman yell, "That's right."
Voting Republican until what, 2020?
That's right. Who is that woman? And as the segment goes on, you see him looking over at her, communicating through her with body language and facial expressions.
Well, Sean, I think it depends on what your objectives with this interview are. I voted Libertarian in my first election. I voted Republican in 2020. You're right. I'm not a partisan hack. I come in from the outside.
Forgive you for your screw-up.
I'm an independent-minded patriot who speaks
It
the
sounds
truth.
to me like you just want to jump from the private sector yourself, where you made a lot of money. By the way, I applaud capitalism. I applaud successful people.
Sean, I applaud you for being so transparent about your
I actually think that
objectives.
people work in the defense of our country and the defense industry are playing a vital role for the cause of freedom.
Oh, wow. The military-industrial complex are playing a role in the cause of freedom?
So I don't really call it a corrupting influence or suggest that somehow that's a corrupting influence. I actually like the experience that goes along with working for defense contractors. But I gotta listen.
One of the things I loved about that interview with Tucker, one of the things I loved about that interview.
Oh, now this I love. You know, Mark Dice snuck on to Fox News last week and was plugging Tucker's show on Twitter, X. And Ramaswamy did this last night. I love how he's plugging Tucker Carlson's new show on Twitter, X, on Fox News. They're not allowed to mention Tucker's name on Fox News, and Ramaswamy got it out there.
It was actually defense contractors. But I gotta listen.
One of the things I loved about that interview with Tucker, was we were actually able to have a thoughtful conversation.
Oh, now this is awesome. So not only did Ramaswamy get Tucker's show out there, but Hannity admits that he watches Tucker Carlson's show on X.
All you want. I like
this
Tucker.
kind of political gotcha.
The point is this: you go on these interviews. Yeah, I have nothing but nice things to say. But here's your problem: you go on these shows, people quote your exact words, and you deny your own words. And I'm saying, if you're going to be a presidential candidate, and you're going to spend, I'm going to give you your exact words. Either own it,
Sean, you have been sitting here for years talking about the fake news media.
You played this all the time.
I'm enjoying this. You have been laughing about the fake news media how many times for the last several years, and now you're buying the mainstream media narrative when you know how corrupt it is.
I am
This is a corrupt game.
I am quoting your exact words.
Are a problem.
Did I not quote your exact words?
About Azerbaijan and Armenia.
Did I or did I not quote your exact words? Did I quote your exact
and
words?
Armenia, absolutely.
Thank you.
About
Goodbye.
Azerbaijan, yes,
I
you
got time
did.
to go.
About a different topic, Azerbaijan, where people should actually get their own information rather than filter through centralized media.
I think it's asinine to think somebody that worked in the defense industry should not be qualified to be president. I think people that never held public office, like you, maybe they're not qualified to be president.
Oh, really? So Sean Hannity, does that mean that Donald Trump wasn't qualified in 2016? Also, so you want to put war profiteers in the Oval Office as president, Hannity? Oh my goodness. You're on the radio. I'm not a fan of Ramaswamy, but he cleaned Hannity's clock. He got Hannity to say that he watches Tucker's show on Twitter. He got him to do, it was beautiful. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Maria. Oh, man. Isn't that something?
Man, Sean Hannity, oh my God. Oh, I didn't see the interview, but I went back as you were speaking this morning because I was looking at I went back looking at it on YouTube, and it was a disaster for Sean Hannity, and he got exposed.
Yeah, and who's this lady that is talking to him and throwing lines at him while he's on air, Hannity? That's crazy.
Well, you know who it is, the people that Fox News hired them. Fox News hired these people, that's what Tucker been saying. Fox News hired these people, these are what they call a consultant, or they cabinet people, or whoever, and they be right in the fight scene telling the person that's doing interviews with other people, like Sean Hannity, Laura, and some of...
Well, Hannity really got exposed, and if you all share today's show all over social media, and we get a lot of people like me talking about this, Sean Hannity's going to have to do some... look at what he did. He's promoting military-industrial complex people to be president. He admits that he watches Tucker's show on Twitter. Vivek Ramaswamy did a really good job on that interview last night. You got to give the guy credit for that. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta understand. I know it's gonna be. I don't know about some of these social media, but I can tell you this is running all over Twitter right now and on Rumble, so and Data. Because I checked on Getter and I heard a couple of people said tune in.
I didn't know Getter was still a thing. Well, make sure you share me all over all those platforms. Hey, listen, I got to run for the break, okay? Hey, listen, word of mouth, get the show. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back to your calls after this.
Don't sit on the sidelines.
Not doing bad for espresso withdrawal. What do you guys think? I mean, I feel like crap. I got a headache. I now have a headache. My eyes feel really weird. These are reading glasses, guys. I pay like 10 cents for these on Amazon. And I got a foggy brain, but I'm getting through it. Oh. No, I'm going through major withdrawals from the espresso right now. Major withdrawals. But where can I get coffee early in the morning that has the equivalent caffeine as the Starbucks Venti Hot Blonde Americano? They have a version at Dunkin' Donuts, but it tastes like the worst tasting thing I've ever had.
Celebrity Beyond, the flagship of celebrity cruises. We're going to the ABC Islands, Curacao, Bonaire, and Aruba. We have shore excursions at every port, and I'll be on them all with you. We'll have dinner together every night, private cocktail parties. We'll go to Broadway shows together and dance till the clubs close every night. Call Evening Cruise and Travel Depot and book your reservation. 561-244-5779. 561-244.
It tastes good. The Dunkin' Donuts has not their equivalent to the one I'm talking about, but their regular coffee tastes good, but it's not the taste, it's the caffeine. I need a new drug. Right? Huey Lewis in the news. Now, you don't want to take caffeine pills. That's crazy. I just drink it for the caffeine content, not the taste or anything. Oh, man. It's so interesting when you go through the news, like when I do my show prep in the morning, and I'll see a story and I'll be like, okay, that's going to be the main thing today, and that's what will make the thumbnail. And then like an hour later, I'll come across it, it's like, nope, and I got to make a new thumbnail. I didn't know Jolt was still a thing. No, there's too much sugar in Mountain Dew. I get a sugar crash. Doing a 3-hour radio show like this it takes a lot of energy. It's not easy. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Terry from Florida.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, you know what? I heard you say earlier that Trump was he was talking about Israel, and he was telling them saying that hey, Israel, this side, if you hit it on this side, that's their weakest side, right? And you can get Israel that way. Trump does not like Israel.
No. You only no. Hold on. Slow down. No, that's not what happened with Trump. I played this audio. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I played it yesterday. You got to, guys. I'm going through this Starbucks caffeine withdrawal, so I apologize. I'm not to my normal clarity, perhaps. I mean, I don't know if I sound like I'm going through withdrawals or not. But no. He was talking. I've got the audio somewhere. I'll pull it up while we're talking. But President Trump had pointed out that there was a defense official, a government official from Israel, who went on television pointing out Israel's weak point, and that's he was criticizing the guy for doing that.
He was criticized, not like Israel. And see, the thing is, what Israel's going through, it's already been prophesied that they will go through it. There should be wars and rumors of wars. And the thing is that they've been going through this for years, and it's not what Trump says. It's about the land. That's what they really want. They want that land because that land is very prosperous. It's very fruitful. It's got oil. You know what I mean? And
Israel doesn't have oil.
Land, trust me, that land was given to Israel by God, and over that land for centuries.
But there's no oil there. You know half of about everything you talk about, but you don't know the rest, the other half. Yeah. No, you don't. When you say, excuse me, when you say Trump doesn't like Israel, where do you get that nonsense from?
Because he's the Antichrist. He's the devil.
The devil?
He wants to control Israel just like he wants.
Wait, excuse me. What makes you think that he's the Antichrist?
Because the thing is the Bible said that he was going to show up. He was going to come. The Antichrist.
No. But where does the Bible say Trump and AI are the Antichrist? I'm going to play you the clip of Trump that you referenced at the beginning of your call. I pulled it up while you were babbling with your nonsense. No. I let you babble with your incoherent ramblings just to give me a moment to find the audio. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to play you the audio of President Trump that you referenced about Israel. Okay, from the other day. All right. This is from his speech at Club 47 in West Palm Beach, night before last.
2 nights ago, I read all of Biden's security people. Can you imagine? National defense people. And they said, gee, I hope Hezbollah doesn't attack from the north because that's the most vulnerable spot. I said, wait a minute. You know, Hezbollah is very smart. They're all very smart. The press doesn't like when they say it. You know, I said that President Xi of China, 1.4 billion people, he controls it with an iron fist. I said, he's a very smart man. They killed me the next day. Oh, I said he was smart. What am I going to say? But Hezbollah, they're very smart. And they have a national defense minister or somebody saying, I hope Hezbollah doesn't attack us from the north. So the following morning they attacked. They might not have been doing it, but if you listen to this jerk, you would attack from the north because he said that's our weak spot.
Okay, so it wasn't Trump. It was this idiot that's giving interviews from the Israeli Defense Department.
Okay.
So now that I played the audio that counters your delusion that you began the call with, what do you say now? No. You said that he gave out classified information about Israel's weakness because he doesn't like Israel. He's trying to help Israel by getting them to fire this guy that's letting out classified information. What do you say to that?
How is he trying to help Israel when he's committed? He's giving a...
No. Now that it's been corrected, your slander against President Trump, you said that he gave out Israeli secrets about their weak point in the north, and he didn't. He's trying to get rid of this guy who's giving interviews, giving out classified information. What do you say to that now? Do you want to apologize for your slander against our great President Trump?
Why would I apologize about the devil?
Because you should apologize because you said something about him that's not true.
He's deceiving the whole world. And once he deceived,
But what he hasn't deceived you, though, right? You're smarter than the rest of the world, right?
to see his true nature because he's a liar and a deceiver.
Well, but wait a minute. So, but you either were lying or you were wrong at the beginning of your call about Trump, but you were deceiving people by saying that Trump gave out secrets about Israeli weak spots in their defense perimeter. You were giving out misinformation, which I corrected.
That Trump don't care about Israel. Everybody hates Israel.
Oh, everybody hates Israel? Does that include you? Do you hate Israel?
No.
Well, you said everybody hates Israel. So everybody but you?
People.
Everybody but you hates Israel.
No, the Jewish people love Israel.
You said everybody hates Israel.
Every other, you know, the Bible says that they shall encamp Israel all about. And then they're going to be, you know, having war with Israel. Fight Israel. So
okay, all right. I mean, I can't talk to mentally ill people for too long. And I'm not calling him mentally ill to make fun of him. That caller is mentally ill. And anything that, you know, like bringing up that audio of Trump that I did, anything that questions his delusion is a triggering mechanism. You know, I've been talking to mentally ill people on the phones, on the radio for a long time, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, but I've talked to enough mental patients like that guy that I do have some layman's expertise, and I'm just not going to go back and forth with someone who's a mental patient. Like I say, I mean a real mental patient. I don't mean that in a, you know, just to make fun of the guy. I don't make fun of mental illness. It's a serious thing. Now, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. Remember, it is open phones on Friday. We call it Open Maga Mike Friday. Our number 1-888-GO-CANE-1. You're welcome to call in about any and everything you have on your mind. You're not limited to the topics that I bring up, all right? Our number 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I'm Brian Craig. We'll be back right after this.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. The greatest rock and roll hits of the 60s and 70s coming up this morning.
Okay.
Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created. Here's the oldies forecast.
Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you're off to an awesome start. So we're going to see daytime highs today into the lower 90s, pressing almost record heat. Lower to mid 90s, very humid out there. And
Oh man, guys, I'm gonna run and get a glass of water because I'm almost out of coffee. I'll be right back. If I can get the mic off. There we go. Be right back.
Where luxurious outdoor spaces are created. And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
I-95 southbound after Glades Road in Boca Raton. That disabled vehicles blocking the left lane. We still have a crash off to the right shoulder along I-95 heading northbound approaching Woolbright Road. A crash lingers in West Palm Beach along Military Trail at Westgate Avenue. And also on Loxahatchee, we have fallen power cables on 148th Avenue North, just south of Orange Boulevard. This report is sponsored by Macy's. Get Macy's lowest prices of the season on incredible fall specials like versatile quotes for him and her, dazzling fine jewelry, and comfy sheets and bedding for cooler nights. Plus, download the app for even more great deals at Macy's. That's Traffic on Chris Barr.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Come out to the newly renovated poker room at PBKC, open daily for cash games, high hands, mega bad beat jackpots, and big money tournaments like the Moneymaker Tour. Coming back October 25th through November the 6th. You can also play your favorite casino table games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum, 7 days a week. For more information, go to ppkennelclub.com.
Hi, this is Gabriel with Florida Cash Home Buyers. Are you looking to sell your home
Made it back, but I'm out of breath. I went to get water, since I'm almost out of this low caffeinated coffee. I ran. My wife got me one of these Stanley cups. Do any of you guys have one of these? This water in here, okay? This thing keeps things cold with ice, like so freaking long. I had ice water in here the day before yesterday. I left it in my car in the hot sun all day and night. Got in my car in the morning. It still had ice in it. I couldn't believe it was cold. But I'm out of breath because I ran up the stairs to get here. I wasn't sure how much time I had left. Catch my breath. Here we go.
Now, back to the
Almost caught my
Steve Kane
breath.
Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 46 years on.
All right, we are back 33 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. If you're just tuning in, you missed a lot. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Elliot, Miami.
Yes, Elliot. What's up?
How you doing, Brian?
Doing all right?
Good, good. Love your show, long-time listener.
Here we go.
Hopefully Jim Jordan will be speaker. And, Brian, I just have a question for you, bro.
Here we go.
I'm very, very curious. Why hasn't Trump ever called you out? Or
well, what makes you think he hasn't? And I love. You know what I love about this? If you guys watch off the air, you see all the compliments. And I said off the air to people watching. I said, "Watch, here it comes," and here it comes.
maybe, you know, be on your show once in a while.
That'd be nice.
Thank you or something. I mean, you're like his biggest cheerleader. It's the best.
Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah.
And we love you, Brian. Keep doing a great job.
Okay. All right. It didn't play out the way he expected, so he continued the farce. By the way, don't be so sure that I haven't gotten a shout out or a thank you. Just because I don't brag about things and wear them on my chest doesn't mean I haven't heard or gotten shout outs and thank yous. Okay? I don't need to brag about such things to prove my worth. But the seminar callers, I'm like, you know, we're becoming a target of the seminar callers again, which I love. I consider that a compliment. But have any of the seminar callers gotten away with what their agenda was? Now, I want to play that. This is a lot of amazing things are happening in the House of Representatives. And I'm very happy that things are not going according to the plans of the Rhino Rats, Republicans against Trump. This is Bret Baier last night. He had Kevin McCarthy on. And let's just play this clip, then we'll talk about it.
Can you absolutely rule out being drafted to go back at it?
Look, let whatever is
I know you
decided-
say let the conference decide, but here you are. Listen, if you've been on TV a lot. You've been on Fox 6 times since Saturday. Are you still in the game here? Is that why?
Look, one thing I've always told America, I'm never going to give up on them. So if whether I'm speaker or still a member of Congress, I have an ability to lead and say and do things, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help the American public to do what is right and try to get this Congress in the right direction.
All right, whatever. The right direction is with you not in the Congress, Kevin McCarthy. Okay, so, you know, what's going on right now in the House of Representatives is truly just amazing, okay? They thought they were going to plug in Kevin McCarthy 2.0 with Scalise, and that failed. And, you know, the day before yesterday, the mainstream media corporate Republican establishment started announcing that it was over, that Scalise was the speaker. He got the nomination. Yesterday they were doing that too for a while, and they were pretty much telling us that it was a done deal, and I was not happy about that. You know, it's hard, you know, Steve Scalise, it's hard to attack Steve Scalise because that Bernie Sanders supporter shot him and all that. But as I was telling you guys yesterday, when they were debating on the floor, removing McCarthy as speaker, and Scalise took off his K95 mask and started talking about it, he was like almost in tears, and it was uncomfortable to watch a man have such an attachment to another man like that. It was a very strange thing, okay? And I know, wasn't it? Very strange thing. And right then and there, I'm not going to attack Steve Scalise because of what he went through with that Bernie Sanders campaign worker, but right then and there I knew I didn't want the guy. And the media was celebrating that, and we all knew that Steve Scalise was Kevin McCarthy 2.0, and then something happened yesterday, and he withdrew his name. And that is he's out. So I'm not confident it's going to be Jim Jordan. We don't know. There's a lot of things undecided here at this point. And Kevin McCarthy is still angling to get back that speaker's job. And I remember when he was first being talked about to be speaker the first time, I heard a lot of people that know McCarthy say, this has been like his dream his whole life. His whole goal was to always be Speaker of the House, blah, blah, blah. You know, and he's not given up. And word has come out in the last few days that he's been trying to work behind the scenes with the Democrats to get back in the speakership. And it's not over yet. But what we saw with Scalise yesterday was the power of Trump at work. If Trump wasn't involved in this and didn't have incredible amounts of power and influence over the Republicans in the House of Representatives, Kevin McCarthy would still be speaker, okay? And there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that I hope we soon learn about. But so far, MAGA's doing very well in the House of Representatives. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Debbie from Michigan.
Hey, Debbie. What's up?
I just wanted to let you know, if you go to the gas station for coffee, they have shots in independent cups, and you can beat yourself off that way.
Well, here's the thing, okay, because we're talking about, each morning I get 2 Starbucks tall, venti hot blonde Americanos. That is 8 shots of espresso. Each cup is less. I understand. Let me finish. Well, thanks for the call. Okay, I get it. They have. Okay. Each cup is less than $5, and that ain't cheap. Okay. But anywhere else that you go for shots of coffee, it's much more money. So I don't want somewhere where it's going to cost me $10 a cup. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I drink 2 of those every morning, every day of the week, 7 days a week, every day of the month, even on the weekends. Okay, so it adds up. It's almost like a rent payment or a mortgage payment if you start getting it going up too much higher than that. But I just say this. Whoever the speaker ends up being, they're gonna, even if, I don't think it's gonna play out this way, but even if it's someone who on the surface is an establishment Republican, they're going to be owing so many favors to Donald Trump and owe loyalty to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is behind this entire thing that is going on here in the House of Representatives. The entire thing. And we've never seen anything like this, okay? For a former president, especially one who's only had one term, to be able to get anybody on the phone is a miracle. They fade away to obscurity, and no one cares except Hollywood celebrities who want to have ex-presidents at their parties. And what we're seeing with President Trump, people talk about this poll and that poll, and the polls are all in Trump's favor. The trend in all the polls show that he's winning. I got some new polls with him versus Biden that I'll get to later in the program. But beyond the polls, you look at the power that he has. And the reason that Trump has power to remove the Speaker of the House and to hold up the establishment plugging in Scalise, which, Kevin McCarthy 2.0, the reason that he has this power is because those in the House of Representatives believe he's coming back for the win in 2024. If he was going to be out, they wouldn't be listening to him. He wouldn't have influence. He has a lot of influence with the American people, and the Republicans that don't even like him in the House are standing up for what he wants, not for any good reason, but because they know he's coming back and it'll be over for him. Oh, boy. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Andrea.
This is what I think is going on with the Speaker of the House, and people should be very aware of what they're doing. They did not like that the American people had a voice and threw Kevin McCarthy out. They didn't like it, and now they're trying to override your will once again, thus proving that they could care less about what you want. It's disgusting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's despicable. But you know what's even more disgusting and despicable that nobody's talking about?
Mm.
The fact that a couple of years ago, you could not say COVID on social media, yet these terrorists were able to post what they post on social media with absolutely no recourse. And that's how you know you have a bunch of cowards.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you. Okay. A lot's being made about the Hamas in Gaza using social media and being allowed to post things. Why do you think they're being allowed to get away with that?
Well, so that, people could actually see what they are.
No, that's not why. The reason they're being allowed to use, I know it's grotesque and everything else. The reason they're allowing Hamas lunatics, terrorists, to use social media in Gaza is because we're on the verge of a major ground movement by the Israeli army to clean them out of Gaza. They're using social media to track them. This was done with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Al-Qaeda and ISIS were communicating through Snapchat. And the United States was coordinating rocket attacks based on location data from Snapchat. So they're allowing them to stay on social media as a way to locate them, track them, and coordinate military movements. Not because it's so people can see what they are. And I'm surprised more people don't know that or realize that. And it's pretty smart because the average fighter is in their teens to mid-20s. And they got a rifle in one hand, they got a device in the other to post to whatever social they use.
I just can't with.
All right. I feel like Robbie the robot. I cannot compute. All right, we'll be right back.
Hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on the.
All right, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you today?
Good. I was just talking to you about you to a friend of mine yesterday, and I was telling him about you, and I don't want to get you off what you called about, but he told me something, and then I shared with him some stories you told. He's retired. He has a trust and everything, and he just sold his house, and he's got all the cash from the house in the bank. And I said, well, if something happens to you, what's going to happen to that cash? I said, because he's got family, and he's like, oh my goodness. He said, I didn't even think about that. So I told him to call you. But those are the kind of things that happen, Barry, with people. All of a sudden, his home that was in the trust has been sold. Now the cash is out of it. That's not in the trust.
Right, and that's why it's important to have a process for going forward. It's not just about setting up the estate planning and doing the right documents and doing the right documents correctly. It's about having that process. So as things change in your life, you continue to get the counsel and the advice and yet the process to make sure that you know what to do. Like, for example, one of the things that if you open up this account and you never put it in the trust, it could end up going through the probate process, which could be very expensive. Where he sold perhaps one of the biggest assets that he had, his business and or his home, and ends up getting a large amount of money, and then it just sits in an account that's titled in his name. He could end up going through the probate process unnecessarily just because there was not a follow-up process, updating system like we have in our office.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what do you have for us today, Barry?
Oh, well, today I was just going to talk about how, we work our whole lives. A lot of people, go to school for many years and then work. The grind of going to work every day, the commute, the traffic, the whole process of working your way up in whatever your career is. Going, working 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. You do this year after year after year for who knows, 40 years or so, and to think about that, and then you get to a point in your life where you're able to retire. You have this nest egg that you put away that you're expecting to be able to live off for the rest of your life, and then what happens? You or your spouse become ill, and you don't have long-term care insurance, or you don't have enough long-term care insurance, and now we're in a position where we have to worry about money, and the whole point is, when we do this planning, it's to protect ourselves from losing our assets, such as the cost of long-term care. Would we rather have our children and grandchildren get our assets, or would we rather have it go to the nursing home or the assisted living facility? Would we rather have our children and grandchildren get it, or would we rather it go to the courts and the lawyers in the probate process? Or would we rather have our children and grandchildren get it, or would we rather have it go to our future ex-son-in-laws and future ex-daughter-in-laws? Those are some of the reasons why people do estate planning, to make sure that their estate is protected for themselves during their lifetime, and to make sure that it's protected for their children and grandchildren down the road. It's really about the peace of mind.
Thanks, man. Yeah, Barry, I was in Pompano yesterday, driving down Atlantic Boulevard, and I drove by an office building. It was for a law firm, and they had a sign out for they had the name of the attorney, and then underneath it said probate. And I'm like, who's advertising that they're a probate attorney? You want to avoid that. But you tell people how to avoid that probate process, which is very time-consuming, very expensive. But there are law practices that are based solely around that process, which tells you how much money it costs. This guy's got a whole practice set around probate. I've never seen such a thing.
Because we do handle probates as well, because a lot of times we get clients, people who come in who to call our office because they may have done their planning elsewhere, or for many other reasons. So we certainly do probate and trust administration in our firm, but it is our goal to help our clients who did the estate planning with us avoid probate.
That's right. Yeah, you want to avoid probate, guys. Now, listen, it's always a no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group if you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel here on the show, all right? And you can give them a call toll-free, and no matter where you are in the state of Florida, the Siegel Law Group can help you. The number's 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, have a great weekend. We'll talk next week.
All right, Brian. Thanks. You.
Back after this.
For breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, indeed it is. My name is Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Just a lot of things happening today that we've been covering on the program. And I just want to, because I got a couple of DMs here I was checking during the, anytime I'm on the air, I'm always looking down, checking my emails, checking my DMs. And I got 2 DMs on Twitter about this guy that called in about Trump and me. And if you've noticed what some of the seminar callers do and what some of the liberals do, you'll hear this from time to time on the program. They'll try to make me angry at Trump, right? They'll say, well, why hasn't he been in studio? Why doesn't he talk about you at the rally stage and things like this? And if you know everything the left do, whether it's something tiny like that, and as I said, just because you don't hear it on the show does not mean these things have not happened, okay? And I don't need to burst in and brag about things on social media or things like some of my friends do all the time. I have a lot of friends that live for that kind of stuff. But everything that the Trump haters try to do is to always turn MAGA people against Trump. And they just don't get it. It's never going to happen. Okay? It will never happen. You are never going to get the Trump supporters to jump off the Trump train. And that's just a tactic that they just never stop attempting. And it not only does it fail, it's one of the things that makes Trump more and more popular each and every day with people as they try to turn us against him by getting fake court cases and mugshots and taking his comments out of context and trying to say that he said things that he didn't say and all these things. Nothing is going to turn the MAGA people against President Trump. They just don't understand what the Trump movement is all about. And, you know, when I give you a great example of when Trump came out and said I could shoot a person on Fifth Avenue and still have their support. Yeah. It's that kind of support because we understand what it is that he's doing. I talk about this a lot. The MAGA movement led by President Trump is a civil rights movement. It's the greatest and biggest civil rights movement in the history of this country because it's the most diverse and largest civil rights movement as well that's ever existed in the United States. And it's not about this time it's not about ending Democrat segregation, Democrat racism, Democrat Jim Crow laws, and other things that different movements have. You know, even if you look at the women, the suffragettes, to get the right to vote, you know, the women who fought to get women the right to vote were Republicans. The Democrats were trying to stop women from getting the vote. I mean, that's not what they teach you in school because they don't want you to know that, but it's true. Okay? And President Trump's movement is to lead the American people to freedom from this military-industrial complex. That's why I've been talking so much about this event that happened with Hannity last night with Ramaswamy, which I'm going to play that again after the top of the hour at 8. I'm doing it once an hour because I think it's so important for people to hear. Yeah, now they call us a cult. Really? Was Martin Luther King's movement a cult? Were the suffragettes a cult? Was the student movement against the war in Vietnam a cult? They only call us a cult because they want to try to discount us, and they can't. And we're growing, and that's just the way it is. They would have served themselves better if they would have just left him alone. He'd be more than halfway through his second term now, but they can't. And there's been a big change in this country that I've been pointing out to you all week. Here's another one. Listen to this. A petition to remove a Yale professor from her position after she sent out a number of tweets backing and celebrating Hamas and their terror attacks on Israel has garnered 35,000 signatures and growing. The petition from the Yale Faculty for Promoting Lies and Violence refers to a series of tweets sent by the professor, and she's going to be out. There is a statement that Jake Tapper made. You know, this is unbelievable. James Woods tweeted this out. The actor James Woods. If you don't follow James Woods on Twitter, you're missing a lot. I mean, he's like one of the great conservative minds of our time, James Woods. And James Woods tweeted out yesterday a quote from CNN's Jake Tapper. And CNN's Jake Tapper is a liberal monster, okay? And this is what James Woods tweeted out yesterday about a quote of James Tapper. This is the quote. Jake Tapper, quote, "These last few days have been a real eye-opening period for a lot of people, a lot of Democrats and a lot of progressives in terms of anti-Semitism on the left," unquote. That's Jake Tapper. And I've been telling you all week long that when Israel is this is obviously what's going on now is one of the biggest attacks on Israel that any of us have been alive to see, okay? And they haven't even responded yet, all right? Well, they've been shooting the rockets in, but they haven't started the ground yet. And it's going to be big, and it could happen today, tomorrow, over the weekend. It could happen anytime. But what's changed in this country are people standing up to anti-Semitism, like this professor, other professors. In the past, like when the suicide homicide bombers were blowing up restaurants and weddings in Israel for years and years and years, Israel started bulldozing the houses that the suicide bombers lived in. Remember this? And these anti-Israeli people, some of them were Jews, and some of them were Americans, would chain themselves to the houses to try to stop the Israelis from bulldozing the houses of the terrorists that were killing civilians in Israel. And some of them, if I remember correctly, some of those human shields were killed in the process. And the world turned, when Israel started bulldozing the houses of terrorist homicide bombers, the media in this country, CNN and all of them, and the left in this country were going after Israel day and night, night after night, day after day. It was never ending. This, and there's been many other instances, but this is the only time in my memory where anti-Semitism on the left, which is where all the anti-Semitism comes from, by the way. Where's the if the MAGA movement are Nazis, Nazis, their primary anger is towards Jews. Where are all these MAGA anti-Semites condemning Israel right now? I haven't seen any of that. Have you? All these protests and comments are coming from the left. And usually in the left, anti-Semitism is welcome, embraced, encouraged, and promoted. Talib and the anti-Semitic squad have been running around for like 4 or 5 years, and we're here, and we're women, and we hate the Jews. Stand up to us. It's never going to happen. And now look what's happened. They've shut their mouth, and Talib ran in an elevator to hide, and she'll never recover from refusing to condemn the beheadings of those babies. Jake Tapper is right. So why is this happening? Why all of a sudden are people standing up to anti-Semites in America? It's because of Trump, and the MAGA movement has been empowered. Trump's MAGA movement brought down Bud Light with that weirdness and many other things that are going on. Okay? It's because the MAGA movement is the majority movement in this country when it comes to politics today, and it's MAGA that has inspired the cancellation of these anti-Semites in this country. This is very unusual. A lot of you don't realize, but it is. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back after this.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3 in Newtown. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Broadcasting from the Rogue Studio. Injured recently? Call the Rogues Law Group, where winning is a habit. 561-570-5700. 561-570-5700.
Do you guys mind if I recap the Hannity? I got to recap the Hannity thing. Everybody's got to hear this. I mean, to me, it's like the story of the day. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on that, but I think it's the big story of the day. Sometimes when there's a big story like that, you got to recap it once an hour, because in the mornings people are in and out. They go into work. They get up at different times. And this is one I want to make sure that everyone hears.
Best patio store in Palm Beach County. Palm Beach Patio Furniture.com, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created
crash moved to the left shoulder now along I-95 being southbound from Blades Road. In late north, we start a crash there on military trailer 10th Avenue North. Further south of Broward County 595 westbound at 440 going to middle lanes are blocked by a multi-vehicle crash. And we also have an incident on Coco's Road at Blount Road. This report is sponsored by Macy's. Get Macy's lowest price of the season on incredible fall specials like versatile goods for every bill, dazzling fine jewelry, and comfy sheets and bedding for cooler nights. Plus, download the app for even more great deals at Macy's. Let's traffic. Here's more.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. It's showtime. PBKC. Get your tickets now for exciting live events in the paddock. Enjoy dinner and a show with Rat Pack now on Friday, October 20th. Let It Be ultimate tribute to the Beatles on November 17th. And Chris McDonald's Merry Christmas Baby December 15th. Then get ready to laugh out loud with comedy shows with Amber Dice Clay doing 2 shows, Jackie Marley and Jimmy Fallon all in December. For more information, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Here's your True Oldies ABC News Update.
ABC News now. I'm Tom Rivers. Israel ordering 1.1 million Palestinians to evacuate northern Gaza within 24 hours, saying it will operate with significant force in the coming days.
Israel says more than 6,000 bombs have been dropped on Gaza since Saturday after Hamas militants slaughtered at least 1,200 people in nearby Israeli border towns. Israel's siege has left Palestinians in Hamas-led territory with nowhere to go, desperate for food, fuel, and medicine. According to the UN, hospitals in Gaza are at a breaking point, saying hospitals have only a few hours of electricity each day as they are forced to ration depleting fuel reserves and rely on generators.
ABC's Andrew Denver. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in the region meeting with heads of state trying to find a diplomatic solution. House Majority Leader Steve Kane has been drawn to replace the House Speaker. Kane won the nomination this week but failed to gain enough support within the party to win a floor vote. This is ABC News.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. Oh, thank you. What does it say? Beware. If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of hospitalization from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
The Sloman 3 home security system and free doorbell camera with professional installation is here. I'm Scott Shannon. How would you like to get a free doorbell camera? You get a doorbell camera, you get a doorbell camera, and you get a doorbell camera. Wish I had them for everyone, but the first 42 Oldies listeners who call 833-283-5050 will get a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with installation of your Sloman Shield. Yeah, you can see your home right there in the palm of your hands. But that's not all. Sloman's is going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're going to get a touchscreen pad, the motion detector, 10 contacts, backup battery, and service plan. Plus, if you're one of the first 42 Oldies listeners that call 833-283-5050, you'll get a free doorbell camera with installation of your Sloman Shield. So call Sloman's right now for this limited time offer. 1-833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050.
All right, here we go.
Since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian.
All right, welcome back, one and all. The third hour has begun. Oh my goodness, the show is flying by. If you're just tuning in, oh man, I'm gonna recap in a few minutes the Hannity story because that's what I think is my top story today. I think it's so important; it has to be heard by everyone in this audience. But there's a couple other things. I just saw a story here. See the media right now. You know, Israel dropped out the flyers over Gaza, telling everybody to get out, civilians. And it's being reported that Hamas will not let the civilians out. And I'm listening to these reporters. Well, why won't they let them out? Because they want to have as many. They're using the civilians as human shields. They want to have images of dead civilians in Gaza. And they think that's going to turn opinion against them. I personally believe that the Palestinian movement is over with this, based on what we're seeing right now. Now, one of the most anti-Israeli, anti-Semitic media outlets on the planet historically has been the BBC. And, you know, we've talked so much this week about how the normally anti-Israeli, anti-Semitic press have been pro-Israel, and it's because of the video and everything we've seen that shows just these god-awful stories that we've been talking about all week. But people I know, Rabbi David, Ian, our travel agent from Cruise and Travel Depot that handles all of our Steve Kane cruises, is Israeli, was in the Israeli army, and I was talking to him about this, and he says, well, give it a few more days, and they're going to start to turn against Israel as soon as the military action begins. And it's begun at the BBC. There's a story now. BBC Arabic reporter falls to his knees and weeps while reporting inside a Gaza hospital, and says he's seen things that he can never unsee. Now, I am an anti-war person. I don't want anyone to die. Okay? I'm very anti-war person. If they had a draft and I was drafted, I'd probably be a conscientious objector. I don't think, However, what the BBC is trying to do here is that they're trying early now. They're trying early. They're trying to get sympathy for people in Gaza, and that's just not going to happen. Not in Western civilization, it's not going to happen. There's not going to be sympathy for anyone inside Gaza. It's not going to happen. And the BBC is doing a bit of an early test run to see how the reaction to this story will be. They're not going to get any support. With everything that's cut off inside Gaza, I was talking to Andrea earlier. She was upset that they're letting the Hamas terrorists use social media, and I was telling her they're using that to track their locations. If Hamas has access to social media inside Gaza right now with everything that's been cut off by the Israelis, that means that the civilians have access to communications as well on their computers or phones. So why aren't they telling, they need to send out information so we can round up these guys so the Israelis can snatch them up without having to go into these civilian homes and have these firefights, okay? But they're not doing that. And so what's going to happen, it's expected over the weekend, but obviously it's a military operation. They're keeping it under wraps. We don't know exactly when. I know that in Israel, they've been told to have 3 days' supply of food and water at home for the entire family by the weekend, and today's Friday. This is the weekend. So, yeah. So, it's about to happen. The ground invasion into Gaza is about to happen. And what the BBC and others will start to do are show civilian casualties. Civilian casualties are tragic. All casualties are tragic. But what has happened here almost a week ago tomorrow is got to be stopped, and it's got to be stopped now. There's the British are really anti-Semites. I mean, they just are. I don't know why, but they got an article here. What does Hamas want? And they try to explain to you what Hamas wants. What Hamas wants are all Jews wiped from the earth, okay? They're Nazis. They want to complete the Holocaust. That's what they want. There's no negotiating. There's no middle ground. There's no points of agreement on anything. They want all Jews dead. And that's a reality of it, okay? And just one last story, then I'll get to back to the story with Hannity. I meant to share this before the top of the hour, and I ran out of time, but an Israeli billionaire and his wife have quit Harvard's famed Kennedy School of Business after slamming the president of the Kennedy School of Business, Claudine Gay is her name, shocking and insensitive response to the Hamas massacre against the Israelis. This guy is a big funder of the Kennedy School and Harvard. He and his wife, that's why they're on the board. He's worth almost $15 billion with a B dollars. Okay? And I know he's Israeli, he's not Christian, but for him to vocally stand up and leave the board like this, these are the kind of things that I've been telling you are new. things that have never happened before. And, you know, after 9/11, we got a lot of support from places we normally wouldn't in the United States, okay? But right now, Israel is getting support in places that they've never gotten it before and in ways they've never gotten it before. You know, these professors and other liberals, like I was talking earlier about the Starbucks Workers Union, all these, and Black Lives Matter, all these groups, any other time Israel did anything, would come out with their anti-Israeli, anti-Semitic comments, and they would be treated as legitimate viewpoints in the press. And that is not happening this time. That's a good thing. You know, and believe me, it's a good thing. Now, I've also heard that when this military operation is over, they're going to get rid of Netanyahu and his entire cabinet, that they're blaming them for the intelligence failure. Fine, okay? They got to, you know, but before that happens, Netanyahu is going to take care of business over there. You know, there is not going to be a time in the Western world where the Palestinian movement is going to be considered a credible voice. The Palestinian movement is going to be viewed as terrorist in general by all mainstream parties in Western civilization from this point forward. These Palestinians that are marching at the universities, the ones in New York, and I'll just, one thing I've told you about this week, over the weekend, there are going to be demonstrations in support of Israel all over our community probably. We've got a large Jewish population here in Florida. Don't go to any of them. You're asking for trouble, okay? There are evil people and evildoers that go to these things. You don't want to get involved in debate with people in public about it. You do not want to go even to something that's a peaceful vigil on a street corner in Boca. You don't want to go to it. It's not smart to do that. Stay away from those things, okay? I am. You know, I could go to them and make YouTube videos and, you know, and all this stuff. I'm not going to go to any of them. It's not safe. Because even if it's an event in support of Israel, these lunatic anti-Semites could very well show up to cause trouble. You know, when I don't go to a lot of political events and when that are protest events, very rarely. And when I do, I don't talk about them until I'm there or after. These things are always hairy, but especially now. So don't go to any of them. And we're going to have a lot of them all over South Florida, all the way down through Miami over the weekend, I'm sure. It's not the time. All right, we're going to take our first break of the last hour of the program. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Our number, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. Call us on hold, stand by. We'll go to our phones after the break.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Now you can rediscover paradise with Margaritaville at Sea, the only cruise line offering sailings from the port of Palm Beach to Grand Bahama Island. Relish a cheeseburger in paradise at the open-air burger bar. Relax your senses at the St. Somewhere Spa, or revitalize the night with live musical performances and refreshing tropical breezes. From pickleball to piano bar and everything in between. Come see for yourself, my guest.
Got a little bit of coffee left here, but oh, that's it for coffee. Now it's just water. Back after this.
This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. He put dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the bus driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True Oldie.
All right, we are back. Callers on hold, stand by. Let me ask you a question. Are you planning on retiring soon? 6 months, 6 weeks, 5 years, 10 years, 2 years? Are you already retired? Well, then listen up. You want to call Jupiter Joe Thomas, okay? You know, with the situation with the economy today, how can you plan your own retirement? You know, people, I know, I was telling this to Joe Thomas when he was in studio. I said, you know, I'm at that age now where friends of mine are retiring, and the way that people retire is this. Okay, this is how much money I need per month to get by. Really? Well, how's that going to work next year or the year after with inflation and everything? How do you know? You need an expert that's going to give you a retirement plan that works to protect your money, guarantee you income, and of course, stop you from losing money. And that's Joe Thomas. He's president of Retirement Network Advisors of South Florida. They've been the premier retirement experts in the area for 2 decades. He's seen it all and will understand your situation because working in this field for so many years, he's seen every possible scenario. They're family owned and operated too. His daughter Jenny works with him, and of course they have their radio show right here on True Oldies, the Jupiter Joe Money Show. They've been doing that for over 10 years, and he has 2 offers for you. First, Joe Thomas is offering you for free his book, the Retirement Know-It-All book. You just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com, and click on the book link, and you can get the book for free. And he's also offering free phone consultations. That's amazing. A financial advisor offering you a free phone consultation? Give him a call. No matter where you're located, he can help you. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. All right, give him a call. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
Hey, how you doing? Listen, I listen to you and Steve in the morning and how you handle some of your uncouth detractors. And I know that this is not a religious program, but I want to bring to your attention the original conflict between the Israelites and the Palestinians. Now, I won't be long, but bear me out quickly. First, there is nothing called Palestine. There is no land that is called Palestine. The original pre-Israelite inhabitants, they are called Canaanites. So that's something that some of these idiots don't understand. Okay? Secondly, the land was occupied by the Hebrew tribe before anything named Palestine came about. It was not until 1918 during the during World War I, when you had the Ottoman Empire, that was when the land of Palestine came in. Right? And so when you argue with these fools, sometimes you lower yourself to listen to them because they don't want.
Well, listen. This first off, this is a radio show, not a college lecture of things. So you know, no, I don't think we lower ourselves. Listen. Every one of those Arab countries in the Middle East, the oil-rich countries, have Palestinians in them. Okay? There's one reason and one reason only there are Palestinians in and around Israel, like in Gaza. Do you know what that is? The one reason that the Arabs have Palestinians in and around Israel in places like Gaza. What's the one reason?
There are various reasons.
No, there's one. They want all the Jews dead. They want all the Jews dead. No. They got all kinds of lands, homeland. They got Saudi Arabia and every other Muslim country in the Middle East, okay? They're there for one reason and one reason only. They want all Jews dead. So to try to intellectualize, and this is not new, this is how it's always been, to try to intellectualize any of this is it gives legitimacy to these murderers.
Exactly, and one of the things that they do, just quickly hear me out on this. I picked up something on my daughter's email, and I became concerned. It was a letter from some Palestinian organization offering her, telling her what she can do, spread the news in high school to help the Palestinian cause. So I got a hold of it, and I responded, and I can't tell you what I told them to not to do. And so they stopped sending emails. What they have done is to brainwash our kids on our nose, and we did not realize it.
That's right. And that's right, because people don't understand what's going on over there. But it's not about the history and who used to own the land and what happened in 1917 and then what happened in this. It's not about any of that, okay? And it's about the ancient ugly known as anti-Semitism.
I understand it has a biblical perspective, because if you understand the difference between Esau and Jacob, how they're always at each other, and the Bible warns them, listen, if you don't destroy these people, they're going to be a thorn in your side.
Yeah, and this has what's going on against the Israelis has nothing to do with religion, with Judaism. They just hate Jews. It's anti-Semitism. Listen, you know, the Palestinians are Muslim. I mean, why did Al Qaeda knock down the buildings? Did it have something to do with religion, or because we're occupying Indian territory? No, these are just, you know, what you're dealing with, and you saw this at the music festival. We're dealing with barbarians. They're barbarians.
Absolutely. And what do you do with a wild horse?
Well, I don't want to get into all of that, you know, and all this stuff, you know, but that's what's going on here. All right, and that's the way of it. Now, listen, when the ground action begins, things are going to turn in the press, and they're going to turn on a dime, because we have many reporters. This is a new thing. Reporters are embedded with the Israeli army, okay? And that is a new thing in frontline positions. It's never happened before, and which is a good thing. And we're seeing in real time what's going on. But this story with the BBC in Gaza, the anti-Semitic media like the BBC are embedded with the terrorists in Gaza. And they're going to flood the internet and flood the television with the war atrocities in Gaza that they show us, okay? And as I say, I am anti-war. I'm against all war. Okay, but what are you supposed to do when hordes of barbarians fly in paragliders and ride in on motorcycles and are killing babies and kidnapping women and Holocaust survivors and taking them back to their barbarian headquarters? What are you supposed to do? You've got to stop it. You don't negotiate. You don't talk. It's got to be stopped. And this is the only thing that can be done to stop it. And it's god-awful, and it's a terrible thing. But I don't spend my time doing two things. One, I can't worry about Gaza, the people in Gaza. I mean, come on. Come on. How can you? You know, what Hamas did last week, this is Hamas didn't just come out of the closet and want to exterminate Jews. The entire culture in Gaza has felt this way for years, forever. So this is, you know, come on. And this idea that the citizens are being held hostage by, you know, all these years and they haven't had a vote and all this stuff, that is all anti-Israel propaganda. But the media will start to turn when the ground war begins a little bit. But you got to bounce back and pull them back in. What will happen is some of them will do a little test to see if their anti-Israeli coverage, how that's going to play. And if social media snaps back against it, they'll get back on board and report like decent people. They're going to test us, but the outrage is going to be fast. It's going to be swift. And the CNNs will get back on track. Now, the BBC, the British media, that's another problem. All right, we're going to take our bottom of the hour break. When we get back, we'll take some more calls. And I want to recap the Hannity story before we go, because that's the big story of the day. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. The greatest rock and roll hits of the 60s and 70s coming up this morning.
Holy smokes.
Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you're off to an awesome start. So we're going to see daytime highs today into the lower 90s, pressing almost record heat. Lower to mid-90s, very humid out there, and a chance of some afternoon strong storms. I'm WPBF 25 First Morning meteorologist Sandra Shaw.
Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach. Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Voted in the best patio store in Palm Beach County. PalmBeachPatioFurniture.com, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created.
And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Palm Beaches, the major expressways are crash free at this time, but I thought we were going to in Lake Worth, we have a crash lane where the military truck was hit down north. Further south on Broward, County, a crash not quick from the two middle lanes over to the right shoulder now, along 595 westbound 444. But expect southbound traffic back to 995. This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's knows small and professional projects, whether it's best to get safe. Take care of leaves with leaf blowers starting at just $89.98. Lowe's knows home improvement while supplies last. See store for details. Let's wrap up. Chris Barr.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Come out to the newly renovated poker room at PBKC, open daily for cash games, high hands, mega bad beat jackpots, and big money tournaments like the Moneymaker Tour. Coming back October 25th through November the 6th. You can also play your favorite casino table games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum, 7 days a week. For more information, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Hi, this is Maureen Cohen from Nutrition World Palm Beach Gardens. We're so excited to be celebrating 50 years here in South Florida. The Cohen family started their first health food store in 1972, and ever since have been one of the largest locally owned, family-run health food stores in the area. We carry thousands of supplements like vitamins, minerals, herbs, homeopathics, diet and fitness, and so much more. All your favorite top-quality brands. We also have tons of natural foods like gluten-free, paleo, and organic, as well as health and beauty aids, pet foods, and more. Visit Vanessa, Trish, Denson, Scott, and Bruce. They're here 7 days a week for all your family's natural health needs. So stop by Nutrition World at the northeast corner of Peach.
Oh my goodness, guys. By the way, thanks everyone for joining me today. I appreciate it. Your guys' support of the channel means a lot, guys.
4377. That's 626-4377. Or check out our website at nutritionworld.com. Come see us 7 days a week at Nutrition World, Palm Beach Gardens.
Brian Craig here with a question for seniors and those who care about them. How would you like to have instant access to a healthcare advocate at the touch of a button? Would that make life easier for you? You can with I Will Advocates. I Will Advocates will help you set up doctor's appointments, help with your pharmacy, even deal with your pharmacist to make sure that you have your prescriptions. They'll help you find a doctor, including a specialist. If you've been billed improperly by a doctor's office or a hospital, they can help you with that too. They'll even be your advocate when you're in the hospital to make sure you get the care you need and the care you deserve. And that's just the beginning of what they do. I Will Advocates takes care of all Steve Kane's healthcare issues too, and they can do the same for you. I Will Advocate clients are family, and they go to bat for their family when you need them the most. Call Debbie at I Will Advocates right now. Toll free 1-877-275-2326.
You don't want to go to work, Lisa. By the way, guys, I sent out another shipment of the Mighty Maga Lions yesterday. I got another shipment today. I've been sending out so many Mighty Maga Lions that they all the people that work at my local post office know me. They don't know what's in the boxes, but they know me. They know me. Oh my goodness. So if you have not yet, order your Mighty Maga Lion. They're limited edition. They're available exclusively through me at mightymagalion.com. And they come in a nice little, those of you that have received them, you know, they come in a nice little box. And my wife puts in a nice little thank you card in all of them. And my wife Kathy and I, every single one you get has been handled by us both because we're packing them and everything else. Yeah, and there's Dee in the chat who we partnered up with on this, and all of you guys that have ordered them, they are on the way. Every afternoon around 4:30, I go to the post office because they close at 5. So the pickups at 5. So you got yours yesterday. Awesome, Elizabeth. Well, thank you for ordering it. Yep, MightyMagaLion.com. MightyMagaLion.com. I left my lion at home on my desk this morning. I don't have it here with me. Oh, awesome, Lisa. Yep. The thank you card is from me, my wife, and Dee. And I sent one to Dee yesterday because we didn't realize because all the lions were sent to me. And my wife, Dee, didn't get one, so we mailed one off to you, Dee, yesterday. And they've been coming pretty quick when we ship them. I watched the tracking. They get delivered really quick. Yes, nice little tissue that we put in there. Yeah, I'll pin the tweet there of Rome. She just put the website, mightymagalion.com. So click that link and order yours. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hey, you're back. Hey, Brother Brian, IB in Broward.
Hey, IB.
Morning. Hey, people, wake up. Now, for years and years and years, if you haven't been into politics, action speaks louder than words. They've been chanting death to America and death to Israel for probably most of us has been alive and older people. And the caller this week said Islam means to submit. In order to submit the world, you must be in every part of the world. Hence, Brian says, surrounding Israel, which is a land they know not as theirs, but in order to get to the enemy, you must be close to the enemy. And this is why you see these two rallies in Chicago and the other one in the callers mentioned. I didn't see the one in Chicago. I want you to think of these guys as Antifa in a way, Democrats. Okay,
yep.
Antifa is against all of us, white, black, Asian. They don't care. Their job is to kill us all. Now we only saw a morsel of the people that are already here that are Palestinians. In order to submit the world, you must be everywhere in the world. I told you I got beat up in Germany, so they're everywhere, right? So imagine all these people now coming over the border from over 130 countries. We don't know who they are, and most of them are fighting age. And these are the people that are unexposed. We see some of the exposed. I like your call, Jay, in Jersey. You made my point. Once it gets to you personally, let's not forget about all the people that's been harmed by the border crossers, okay? The people down there, the people who get the carjackings, the people who might get killed in another state, all of the border. It hasn't touched you yet, but they are here. Until it touches you personally, then you will change your way of thinking and the people you vote for in the politics.
And I'll tell you, and another. By the way, thanks for the call. Let me take another couple calls before I get into any other things. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Sure.
Hey, Brian. What's up?
Hey, hi, Brian. Three observations, Brian. The first one is one thing Israel did is they added Benny Gantz and Ghazi Ashkenazi to the decision-making process, because this is going to be a major military service operation, and they're going to need their expertise, and they should be listened to. The second one is our brilliant commander-in-chief, through his oil and gas policies, has enriched countries like Iran, because all these operations have got to be financed, and this has been a total disaster, not just for our country, but for the Mideast too, as far as Israel's situation there. And the third one is very simple. The Bible tells us, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. I think we see why that's a valid statement right now, because this is going to be a major situation.
And I'll tell you, the Israelis are a nuclear power, and they have a very advanced and strong military that trains alongside us. They show incredible restraint, but I don't remember the Hamas, all these people that want us to have sympathy for those in Gaza when Israel moves in. They've been dropping leaflets for a day to get out. I don't remember Hamas dropping leaflets at the music festival to get out before they came in and started raping the women and kidnapping them.
I think it's just, I don't think they did, and I don't think they ever will. And we're dealing with an entity here that is, I don't want to say demonic, but it's pretty close to it. It's really just a total disaster. But this is going to be a major, major situation in the Mideast, and I think we're going to see biblical events unfolding here too, prophetic events in that. So I think people should say a little prayer for Israel, because they're up against it.
Absolutely. All right. That's correct. Yeah, Biden's directly responsible. Okay, now I want to, before we end the week, I got to share this again, because to me this is like the big story today. Sean, and I know I did this in the first and second hour, but this is such a big story that it's got to be covered in every hour for people that might have missed it earlier. Sean Hannity did something last night on his show with Vivek Ramaswamy that very well could be the beginning of the end of him. As a voice. He really did a lot of damage to himself last night. Now, and just to give you the background quickly, and then I'll play the audio because time's short here as the clock ticks towards 9. Nikki Haley has been running around talking about bombing Iran, which is insane, okay? She wants to have World War III. President Trump wants to increase U.S. oil production, drop oil from $100 down to $40 a barrel, and financially wreck Iran. Then all this stuff will stop. Ramaswamy has been calling Nikki Haley out this week for her ties to the military-industrial complex, and that she's dangerous by talking about escalating the war by bombing Iran out of existence, carpet bombing them. Hannity brings on Ramaswamy to dress him down, and he actually, this was shocking to me. It really was when I saw this the first time. Hannity brings on Ramaswamy to defend the military-industrial complex and to try to dress down Ramaswamy. This blew my mind. Listen to this.
Why would you accuse Nikki Haley of being corrupt? I don't believe that somebody should be able to be the next commander-in-chief if they have monetized their time in government, going from being in debt to making $8 million through military contracting businesses, through service on the board of Boeing. Frankly, it is shameful for somebody to be collecting stock options from corporate boards while they're running for U.S. president. We already have one family in the White House, okay, who I believe has sold off our foreign policy to advance their private interests. The Republican Party needs to be better than that. Needs to be a party where if your campaign is principally being run by super PACs, people who can give unlimited amounts of money to your campaign, I don't think that befits the Republican Party. I think we need to be better than that. So Sean, you and I may have a different view on that, but my view is if you're making money off your time in government, then I don't think you're fit to be president of the United States. More importantly, though, what's our policy? Stand with our allies while avoiding World War III, and that's where I'm at.
A lot of people don't think you're qualified because you weren't even a Republican or voting Republican until what, 2020?
Okay, now I want to point out, Sean Hannity is not a Republican. He's registered as a conservative, not a Republican. He brags about this often because he can't vote in the primary. So Hannity's not a Republican. Now, this next portion, there's a lady in studio with Hannity who keeps yelling things at him, like cues and lines, and Hannity's interacting with her through facial communication. And I'm trying to find out, is this normal and usual on Hannity, and who is she?
You're qualified because you weren't even a Republican or voting Republican until what, 2020?
Here, that was her when she said, that's right.
It depends on what your objectives with this interview are. I voted Libertarian in my first election. I voted Republican in 2020. You're right. I'm not a partisan hack.
I come in from the
I'll forgive
outside.
you for your
I'm
screw
an
up.
independent-minded patriot who
It
speaks the
sounds
truth.
to me like you just want to jump from the private sector yourself, where you made a lot of money. By the way, I applaud capitalism. I applaud successful people.
Sean, I applaud you for being so transparent about your
that people
objectives.
work in the defense of our country and the defense
You can hear her again.
are playing a vital role for the
Did you hear that? He's praising the military-industrial complex, Hannity, but it gets worse at the end.
in the defense of our country and the defense
I haven't heard it either,
industry
Foster, but
are
he has.
playing a vital role for the cause of freedom. So I don't really call it a corrupting influence or suggest that somehow
Wow.
that's a corrupting influence. I actually like the experience
So one
that
of the
goes
things that
along with
people can
working
do is
for
actually-
defense contractors.
Wow, he likes the experience that goes along with working for the military-industrial complex. I know that they have their supporters out there, but I've never heard someone so open about it as he is being.
But I gotta listen.
One of the things I loved about that interview with Tucker, was we were actually able
Now, this part's awesome. So, Ramaswamy, this is good. Now, Ramaswamy's doing a plug for Tucker's new show on Twitter, X, and he gets Hannity to admit that he watches Tucker's show on X.
But I gotta listen.
One of the things I loved about that interview with Tucker, was we were actually able to have a thoughtful conversation and go deep into issues rather than this kind of political gotcha.
The point is this:
Good.
you
Yeah, so people should watch the actual
go
interview for
on
what I
these
should say.
interviews. Yeah, I've nothing but nice things to say. But here's your problem:
People
you
should
go
watch it.
on these shows, people quote your exact words, and you deny your own words. And I'm saying if you're going to be a presidential candidate, and you're going to spend, I'm going to give you your exact words. Either
You're the one,
own it,
Sean, you have been
or
sitting here for
pull it
years
back.
talking about the fake news media.
But you played this
have
all
been,
the
Sean,
time.
I'm enjoying this. You have been laughing about the fake news media how many times for the
Okay, now at that point, the lady in the background is laughing, and then Hannity looks over and laughs with her.
several years, and now you're buying the mainstream media narrative when you know how
Excuse me,
corrupt it is.
I am
This is a corrupt
following you.
game.
I am
The
quoting
super
your
PAC
exact
puppets
words.
are a problem.
Did I not quote your exact words?
About Azerbaijan and Armenia.
Did I not quote your exact words?
Now listen to the last part.
Azerbaijan and Armenia, absolutely.
Thank you.
About
Goodbye.
Azerbaijan, yes,
I
you
got
did.
time to go.
About a
Thank you.
different topic, Azerbaijan, where people should actually get their own information rather than filtered through centralized
I
media.
think it's asinine to think somebody that worked in the defense industry should not be qualified to be president.
Wow.
I think people that never held public office, like you, maybe they're not qualified to be president. Anyway.
Okay, so is Hannity saying there at the end that he doesn't think that Trump was qualified the first time he ran because he hadn't held office? And again, he ends the interview by saying that he respects and supports people from the military-industrial complex, going from the military-industrial complex to being president. Ramaswamy did a great job. I mean, he brought out so many things with Hannity in that interview that no one has. And we'll take our break. Do not miss the Gold Report. Today's Gold Report is going to be an interesting one for sure. And then I'll finish up talking about Hannity and your calls after this.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve.
All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Metals looking very strong today on the heels of a lot of things going on. The market yesterday, as I suggested yesterday morning, would be maybe that last great buying opportunity that we might see for a while. And it did actually manage to go down $5.30 amidst everything, closing at $1,868.50. Silver was down 23 cents at $21.82. Platinum was down $22 at $8.66. And palladium was down $36 at $1,118. Of course, overnight things are escalating, and the concerns of things getting really crazy over there are pushing gold even higher. And right now we've got like the perfect storm going for gold, and that is that you had you have a situation that isn't going away anytime soon, which puts a lot of fear into the marketplace. And we had gold, which had a lot of traders had been selling shorts and against these markets and any rises that we saw. Well, overnight, we saw gold trade from a low of $1,868 all the way up to $1,920 as the traders headed for covering their shorts as stocks were run through on this rally, and nobody wanted to be short probably over the weekend, going into this weekend with people calling for a jihad and a lot of protests going on. The market rallied tremendously, up $45.50 right now, $1,914 an ounce right now. As I said, gold has already got up to $1,920. Silver up 78 cents at $22.60 the ounce. Platinum up $19 at $8.85, and palladium up $17 at $11.35. Now this move could push gold to actually challenge some of the old record highs if this environment that we're in for the precious metals continues. And that being said, we could see gold back over 2,000.
Oh my goodness. So today's, I mean, so you're recommending continue to buy, continue to add.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have, especially if you don't have any precious metals already in your portfolio, but the market is such that you almost have to buy any kind of pullback. I mean, yeah, we might get a $20 pullback before the day's over, but before the day's over, it could also rally to new highs, and we could be looking at $2,000 an ounce gold.
Yeah, and you know, one thing that we don't talk about often enough that I think is a really cool thing that you brought to my attention. You know, obviously you buy the metals too, and if people have jewelry, old broken jewelry, out of date, ugly jewelry, god awful looking, and everything else, if it's made of the metals, it's gold, it's money. You know, one thing you tell people they can do is bring in their old jewelry and actually exchange it not for cash but for coins.
Do it all the time. And a lot of people just want to have a little cash reserve also. They have jewelry and items that they don't use anymore sitting around, and they can bring it in and establish a little cash reserve for themselves too.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, well listen, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. And remember, no matter where you're located in the world, you can do business with William Youngerman over the phone. He opens up at 10 a.m. His number, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. Online, WilliamYoungerman.com, or stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway in Boca, on the south side of Palmetto, by the way. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk on Monday.
Okay, have a great week.
Back after this.
On the air.
Oh man, I am looking outside and it is really raining out there. Oh my goodness, like, whew, it is dark and rainy outside. Well, that'll stop the protest that you shouldn't be going to, hopefully, over the weekend. I want to just finish up about Hannity because this is important to me, okay? You know, when we had the war in Iraq, I was for the war in Iraq, okay? And I'm not alone. We were fooled. And that was, you know, after 9/11, we were in a different place. And when I think the biggest takeaway for those of us that are conservative in this country from the Bush regime, the Bush administration, G.W. Bush and Cheney, is the control that the military-industrial complex have over our society. And you look at these people that are running for president against Trump, it's all hopeless for them. But when you turn on this exposure of Nikki Haley by Vivek Ramaswamy is so valuable because, you know, earlier this week when Tlaib will forever be remembered for her refusal to condemn the beheading of the 40 babies that were found, Nikki Haley is on the verge of being done as a credible pundit in the news. Okay, it's hopeless for her to be president. And, you know, she's angling to be a permanent pundit or secretary of this or that with Trump in a second term, maybe, perhaps, or some Republican down the road. And Ramaswamy, who I would never support Vivek Ramaswamy, all the things that all of us have found out about him in the past few months are true. But I got to give the devil his due. I mean, he pulled some things out about Sean Hannity and exposed Nikki Haley and Lindsey Graham in ways that I've never seen happen with someone on television. And the cable news cycle is very low. There's stories today that MSNBC's ratings are down 30-40% since last week. And it's because of their anti-Semitic content over there. Fox News, there's been a major exodus. And the low ratings of CNN and MSNBC show you that when people left Fox, they didn't go over to CNN or MSNBC. They just left cable news. And people keep asking themselves, well, how's cable news going to survive? Their ratings are so low. Because they're about promoting the agenda of major companies and businesses like the military-industrial complex. And these pundits that are on our televisions all the time are there with the purpose of driving our opinions. That's why, when the news first started with cable, 24-hour cable, it was news reporting all day. And what news has become is not reporting the news, it's become pundits. They're all pundits, and all of them. And these pundits have agendas and are connected. And many of our politicians, like Lindsey Graham, who's pushing carpet bombing Iran. Lindsey Graham, I don't know what his financial situation is outside of his government salary, but he's out there promoting such a ridiculous idea for the military-industrial complex. Perhaps they donate to him. I don't know. Or one day he may be out of government and want one of these fake consultant jobs or be on the board of this or that. And this is how they get their paydays. The cable news is not in the business of making money by having ratings and advertisers. They're in the business of promoting agendas. And this war in Ukraine is a textbook example. And there's been two things this year that are just phenomenal. I was talking earlier. This is the first time people are standing up against the anti-Semites, right? Never happened before. We got a conservative cancel culture going on against anti-Semites. Look at this movement against the war in Ukraine. The conservatives in this country there's not been a war that conservatives have not supported. And the Ukraine war with Russia is the first big war where conservatives have been the anti-war movement. It's because there's been a great awakening of the military-industrial complex, of which obviously Sean Hannity is a card-carrying profiteer of, with this embarrassment of a display that he had with Vivek Ramaswamy. And like Talib, he's never going to recover from this interview last night. This interview that Hannity did last night with Ramaswamy is something that is going to follow him for the rest of his career. The way I described it earlier was the deep state did to Hannity last night with Ramaswamy what those same establishment deep staters did to Ron DeSantis by having him oppose Trump and run for president against him. They've both been destroyed. And these are two big assets for them. They're in a panic. Now, I want to tell you, it is the weekend now. And even though it's raining outside, you're still going to be more active. If you can't get out of it, I don't know what the weather's going to be all weekend, but you're always more active over the weekend. Even if you're just staying at home, you're doing things around the house you wouldn't normally do. If you're in pain, you don't have to be. Go see Dr. Appleton. Remember, with Dr. Appleton, appointments are not necessary, even on Saturdays. Most of the time, I go in on Saturdays when I've seen him for problems. He's rid me of pain 5 times. He's my chiropractor. He wants to be your chiropractor too. And you know what? His laser wave pain treatment works. You've heard it not just from me, but from listeners of this program who have called in. Some of them are in our recorded commercials. It's amazing. I mean, it's really a miracle. And with the laser wave pain treatment, which Dr. Appleton performs all the treatments personally. I thought I was getting special VIP treatment because we're talking, and I'm friends with him now. But no, everyone gets that VIP treatment with Dr. Appleton. He performs all of the treatments himself. That is so unusual. Not an assistant. That's very unusual. Now, with the laser wave pain treatment, there are no injections, no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. And again, walk-ins are welcome. Appointments are not necessary, even on Saturdays. You can find Dr. Appleton online at AppletonChiro.com or give him a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain. All right, guys. So that's about where we are today. And I just want to tell you guys that you look at everything that's going on in the news. It's going Trump's way. Public opinion and media support for Israel, Trump's way, right? Ukraine's done. This situation in Israel is going to be ongoing for a long time, many, many months at least, if not years. There's going to be a major military operation, and there's going to be big blowback from that. And the footage we're seeing, starting last Saturday morning, the first person I heard say this was Don Jr. on Twitter. And people have realized, wait a minute, we're seeing these atrocities in Israel, and they're god awful. Why haven't we seen anything like this out of Ukraine? So U.S. support for Ukraine is done, what little support they had. That's going Trump's way. And the Speaker of the House race, well, that's going Trump's way too, because Steve Scalise dropped out. And I know the news are not characterizing it this way, but they don't have the support because Trump has too much sway and influence over all the members of the House of Representatives. Okay? So you look at and the polls, there's new, I didn't get to them today, the polls, and I'm not going to try to bring them up right now, but there are new polls out that are Trump versus Biden, and Trump is ahead in all of them. All of them. Okay? And he's further ahead in them than he was in the last poll. So President Trump isn't just ahead in every single poll. The trend is him growing in support. So so I know all the problems we're going through in this country today, they'll be resolved they'll be resolved actually, most of them, before he comes back into office, because once it's apparent to everyone that he's back, things will start to change real quick, because people are going to want to clean up their act before he's back in power. And when you look at these polls, I wish I would have gotten to them today, but there'll be new polls that are just as good, and I'll cover them on Monday. But, when you look at these polls that have Trump ahead, remember, these are polls done by leftists. They oversample Democrats, and Trump is still ahead. So I depending on the poll, I add a minimum of 5 points to the polls, sometimes 10, depending on the poll. That's how far ahead we all are. All right, guys, listen, it's been a great week. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Steve will be back with us on Monday. And, of course, if you missed any of our shows this week, including if you missed a portion of today's show, each day about an hour after we sign off the air, the entire show is uploaded to our radio station website, TrueOldiesFLA.com. And at TrueOldiesFLA.com, you can listen to the show as a podcast. Maybe you want to hear your call, and it is uploaded as an MP3 that you can download on your computer. And it is in perfect studio quality sound. You hear the show like I do in my headphones. So if you want to hear your call or save your call to play to your friends, you can download it there. Now, over the weekend, maybe I'll talk about this on Monday, I'm taking the Bright Line to Orlando. Just started running to Orlando last week, and I'm going to take the Bright Line to Orlando. And if you're in Florida, of course, the Bright Line, everyone's talking about the Bright Line. And I've ridden the Bright Line to Miami before from Palm Beach, but now I'm going to take it all the way to Orlando and back. And I'll report on how that went over the weekend, and hopefully things go well, okay? I hope there's no accidents. All right, my name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. See you Monday morning.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WSFS 104.3 HD.
All right, guys. I'll see ya. Thanks for watching.